She's still with his girl?
Yes, I met her as well.
Oh
Friday.
yeah, they're serious.
She is very cool.
She is. I like
fan.
Soph. She's a nice lady.
Yeah. So we hooped for like an hour, and then we went to Fat Cats.
Oh, where she was working?
And hung out there for hours. Yeah, it was a good time.
So did you meet the manager in there? Who's a pretty big fan of the show?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really cool guy.
We're talking about the place that's on Daniels by
It's actually she works at the one. There's a little one.
Oh, okay.
Over where Tacos and Tequila is.
Yeah, it's like it's like a little hole in the wall. I never would have discovered it unless that happened. And I loved it. It was great. I'm gonna become a regular there.
It's a good spot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can afford to be a regular. Well, if we keep going 10, unless we keep going 10-4.
That's right. I'm up right now.
Although I don't know how much money you lost on Creighton.
Not much.
Come on, it was a system play.
He goes right against the system. That's right in the system that has been money for a month.
It was a double system play.
Every now
ranked favorite on the road coming off their best win of the year. It screamed St. John's. It was before he put on the Mafia suit.
Like I said, if I saw the Mafia suit, there's no chance.
We shouldn't have gotten that far down the checklist.
Touche.
I love Creighton. I'm texting out. No, read the text again.
I won so much money on the Heat on Friday night. Oh,
what, like $13?
No, like 30. Like I'm talking like big deal. All right, here we go.
Paid for Fat Cats.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It is the final Monday of February. Hope you had a great weekend. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is still the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How was your weekend?
My weekend was tremendous, David. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Hold on a second. Tremendous?
Tremendous. Great weekend.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of times, have a tendency, a little hyperbole. I don't know about you. I call people on that. You know me. Okay. I'm an R&D guy, with bank tellers, fast food places, Publix, how you doing? Good. And I go, are you really? No. Don't give me the cliche answer. No. Are you really good? You're good? And they go, well, yeah, I'm good. I go, now that I like to hear. All right. And then you get some people who go, well, I was just saying that. I go, okay, now we're getting to the truth. Okay, pretty mediocre, right?
Tremendous, David.
Awesome.
A tremendous weekend.
Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I mean, it's just one soccer softball tournament after another? Or?
Well, we had a soccer tournament on Sunday. That was probably the low light of the weekend because the girls lost to Spit. Tough battle. But I played in a golf tournament on Saturday and Sunday, and we played with a guy on Saturday, a guy by the name of Joe Traxel. He's 72 years old. He shot 73. And he's such a good player, and it was so fun to watch someone who is that good and still at that age hits it really long. Beautiful swing, great tempo, good guy. We talked a lot. He's a Kentucky guy. We talked a lot of Kentucky basketball.
Well, and that was before they went out and looked like Kentucky.
Right. And he was even in a better mood Sunday when I saw him after they scored odd points or whatever the hell it was.
Goes out and shoots 73, and his team scores over 100 points, gets a big road win. He must have been, listen, from the sounds of it, Mark, he probably could have finished top 10 in the PGA Tour event this week. Oh, man. What a field.
A field.
Good thing the winner gets an invite to the Masters and all those world golf ranking points. My goodness. Ah, tell you what, man, if it ain't an elevated event, these fields suck.
Suck.
You should,
Bushwood sucks. Sucks. Yes. They're
you could,
terrible. You don't even
oof.
recognize anybody in these fields.
No, that is not good. I know Finau was there, the defending champ and all, but he yeah. Whew. Anyway, we'll get to that at some point. But
How was your
Miller,
weekend?
you know what? I've been working a lot, and I think I'm just about done with all the play-by-play and the stuff. I think there's a chance I'll have to travel one more time and do a game or two on the road for the Jacksonville men's basketball team. But otherwise, I think I'm done. So I'm almost there. I'm almost able to settle in for a good 5-6 month run of only working like one or two jobs.
Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to it. I don't know if my wife is. That means she's going to have to spend time with me, or at least, have a conversation or two with me. But I'm just about there.
Well, you figure between the madness, the Masters, you can avoid conversations for a while. There's a lot going on, David.
There's no doubt.
There's spring training. I mean,
right, and the draft. So I can push this off till probably the first week of May. All right, but May, June, July, a good chunk of August, we have to. Well, we have to be a married couple, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, we still love each other. We still like each other. It's just,
you have a routine, David. Let's just put it that way. And the routine is you're gone all the time.
Well, I was going to say that's the routine. The routine is I'm working. Right. And she's like, and I have a whole life without you. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, nothing. Oh, good thing I'm not around.
Well, maybe you can have a tremendous weekend one of these weekends, and that'll set things off.
We may go out and get like wings or something crazy.
Way off the beaten path. Order something that you don't have to use a number to order, David.
Well, you know me, Mark. Okay. Is it okay if I pay a couple dollars extra and get all drums? Thanks. Oh, wow. This is a big night. This is a big Saturday night. No question about it. So we have to call young Trent to task. But before we get into everything that went on over the weekend and look forward and all that. So, and Trent, feel free to chime in because this is going to be a little Q&A that Miller and Moulton are going to do with you. By the way, how are you? How was your weekend?
Very solid. Very solid weekend. Fun little trip to Nashville, up and back. Here we are. Ready to roll.
Goodness, that's right.
Yeah, his brother, the musician, had released his third single over the weekend.
Wow.
Right. So they had a release party for the song, which is very cool. Went to an album release party in my much younger days when I lived in Atlanta, and it was a great event when rock and roll was still a thing. Now, your brother's a country artist,
Yes.
So that is an incredibly cool thing.
It was a lot of fun.
Boy, a country artist in Nashville. You don't find many of them. That's like, what are you? I'm a Broadway actor in New York. Okay, so where are you waiting tables? Down the street and to the left. Got it. So good for him. That's impressive. Mark, the two of us. I mean, I think for as much as we love sports, I think the greatest thing in the world has got to be standing on the stage and belting it out. Okay, and when you're big enough or your song is big enough where they're singing your song back to you, I truly think that that's the greatest thing in the world. I honestly don't think there's anything better than that.
You get no argument from me.
You talk to me about family and all that. Okay, whatever. You release a song and 18,000 people pay to see you and they sing your song back to you. Yeah, all right. I'm done. There's nothing else for me to do here. I'm good. Hope we can pay the bills off of this night because I don't know if I need to do any more of this. Oh, wait a minute. You mean if I go to another city and they'll sing that song to me too? Are you serious? Wow. All right. I'll keep touring then.
David, it sounds like you missed your calling here.
Listen, I'm not a singer. Was never a singer. And in fact, because I was an actor when I was young. I was in all the plays. Honestly, grade school, junior high, high school, I was in the plays. loved performing. But when there were, musicals, I wasn't a good enough singer usually to get the leads. I was a good enough actor. I usually wasn't a good enough singer. So, it wasn't the singing in me but I just think it's cool. For maybe it's the combination of sports and, my love of Broadway and what have you. I just think, man, to be a country or rock star and to be on stage and they start singing it back to you, I have always just thought, I don't know how it gets better than this. Honestly.
I'm right there with you, David. I am right there with you. But back to the Q&A with Trent.
Okay, so we have a system, Trent, do we not? Yes or no? Do we have a system?
We have a darn good system at that.
Okay, what is the quote darn good unquote system?
The system is when a ranked team is on the road against an unranked opponent.
Correct.
Who do you take?
We take the underdog home team.
Correct. So we had 2 such games yesterday, did we not?
Yep.
We did.
Okay, we had Creighton, who not only is a system play because they were 15th in the country and they were favorite on the road at St. John's, but the double system play. Trent, what's the other system that we've been playing this year?
After a big win.
No, not a big win.
After the biggest win of the season.
Thank you. What do?
We pick against that team.
Thank you. Right. UConn trashes Marquette. They go to Creighton. Okay, what do? We bet Creighton hard. Creighton wins. Creighton goes to St. John's. Biggest win of the year. Ranked team on the road, favored. Who do we play, Trent?
St. John's.
Who did you play?
I played Creighton.
Okay, the defense rests, Your Honor.
I'm not happy about it.
Listen, if you were with us on Friday, we went through like the whole weekend. A lot of plays. Okay, Ivy League, Texas, Southern Mississippi Valley State, because they were 0-26. Were we going to bet them to win, or were we going to keep betting against them? We said they're terrible. We're betting against them. Okay, they lost by 21. Okay, you name it. We went through it. Mark, how'd we do?
10-4 on Saturday, 2-0 on Sunday.
Are you serious? Man, we're on a roll. All those people saying you got Miller Mountain, go the other way. Yeah, you'd be
go the other way.
Go the other way. Go the other way.
Do whatever you want.
We are crushing it. Now, don't get me wrong. We're going to finish third to last in our brackets. I mean, that's just how it works. That's the tournament. I mean, it's they call it madness for a reason. Doesn't matter how good your year's been. Once you have to fill out those things, I mean, the boss's secretary is going to win the pool, or her kid. Yeah, I mean, that's how it works. But, yep, there you go. 12-4 weekend. Thank you very much. Come on. We can't do it. We can't make you any more money. I really don't think we can, except for Trent. Okay.
Well, it's tough to get the young kids to listen sometimes. David, as you know, we're both parents. We know that sometimes they're headstrong. They want to do their own thing, and they have to learn lessons the hard way.
You know why? Because he started off the weekend with a play of his own that won big. He was all over the Heat Friday night. All over the Heat. On the road in New Orleans against the Pelicans, they were getting points. And Trent was like, getting points? I'm betting the Heat in the points. I'm betting the Heat on the money line. All right, bada bing, bada boom. And sure enough, not only did they win, hell, there was even a fight.
And a couple of suspensions to boot off of the fight.
You want to talk about setting the tone for the weekend? That was a good tone setter.
So, unfortunately, you know what that meant? Young whippersnapper doesn't have to abide by the system.
Not going to listen to Miller and Moulton. Why would I do that?
Okay.
Patino comes out in an all-white suit. At that point, you should have cashed your bet.
That was when I was at the airport, so I didn't see it. I told you guys I wouldn't have done it if I saw Patino's suit. No chance.
And we didn't even figure that into the system. But by that, I mean, honestly, I wanted to take out more money and bet it on St. John's.
He looked great.
He's as old as the guy Mark played golf with who shot 73 also. I'm going to beat you, and then I'm going to steal your wife. That's what Rick said. Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GI certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Patrick Kane's goal was awesome. Did you see it or no?
From yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
His hands are stupid.
It just like that. It was awesome. He's coming down by himself in Chicago.
Ambien, are you sure there's never been a winless college basketball team?
$800 on St. John's. Wow. Happy for you, sir.
Well, remember, Mark
The
said he's getting so much enjoyment out of doing this at $5 a game as opposed to how he did it before.
It doesn't get much worse than what just happened to Michigan State yesterday. Oh my gosh. I'm not over it.
What are you talking about?
17-game road losing streak. Ohio State. They don't have a coach. You're up 10 at halftime. Awful.
Take calls during commercial breaks. We don't even take calls during non-commercial breaks. Although we will one day.
One day.
One day. Over the rainbow.
Well, we just got to hope there's no national outage with AT&T. Other than that, we're good. Or,
right, this is it.
we just got to hope the phone lines don't get crossed between studios. Other than that, we're in good shape.
Well, Bob, in theory, you could, Twitch chat room, text line, you guys can fire away questions. We answer them all the time. And it's faster if you do it by text or by Twitch.
Speaking of which, probably should open the text line.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Mike Eruzione, we'll try it again. That AT&T outage, it got us. It got us good on Thursday. Had it all, the anniversary. He scored the game-winning goal. We beat the Russians. We had it lined up. He's sitting by his phone. Phone's not working. So then he had to travel Friday at a speaking engagement in California. He's back. Mike Eruzione. We'll look back. We'll put a smile on everybody's face at 8 o'clock. And then we're starting to get serious. We're 20 days away from Selection Sunday. It's time to go to work. Okay? Time to go to work. Shelby, Mast, bracket wags. Who's in? Who's out? What are we talking, Shelby? A couple hours from now, we're getting serious for the first time. But speaking of college hoops, so we had another court storming that didn't go well. And just curious, your thoughts. Should we do away with them, yes or no?
Just tell me how. Because it's one thing to say we're done with court storming. It's another thing to tell a bunch of 18-year-olds to not storm the court, unless you're going to threaten to arrest them for storming the court.
Well, the first thing, though, you have to do is you have to say this is no longer allowed. I mean, honestly, I'm not being a jerk. The first thing you have to do is let everybody know you're not allowed on the court for any reason whatsoever. Now,
which the SEC is done.
Well,
but they fine you for a court storming.
Well, they fine the schools, and then it's up to, then the schools want to have the court storming. So they go, yeah, okay. And then they laugh and they go, well, the funny thing is we'll just pay the SEC back with all the money we're making by being in the SEC. So first things first, yes or no? Ideally, I think most of us, ideally, we'd keep it. It's cool. It's what makes college basketball different than the NBA. Okay, it's cool. But we screw everything up nowadays. Everything. So in 2024, Mark, going forward, next year, we keep it court storming, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Trent?
I say yes.
All right. Now, ideally, I want to keep them. Yet, there is a big part of me that's like, hey, the players don't belong in the stands and fans don't belong on the court. But then again, it's not during the game. So, all right, I'll rationalize it, or maybe I'll abstain. Okay, it's 2-0-1 here on this. So now we're keeping it. Okay, what are we going to do? Because clearly, people are getting run over. I mean, that's clear. Caitlin Clark got run over. Filipowski now from Duke. There are others, but let's face it, a Duke player, the highest profile women's player, that's going to garner the attention. Okay, what do we do?
And David, I don't want to go back on what I just said because I'd like to keep the court storming.
I know you would.
But you can't have the wait until the visiting team leaves the court before you storm. The court storming is organic. It's not a staged event.
I understand, but for whatever reason, Mark, and Trent, back us up on this. When Trent was a teenager, okay, the Trents of the world who were storming the court knew not to touch the players. They knew to stay away from the players. They knew to let the players get to the one side of the court where they could do their handshake line, and they stayed away. And for whatever reason, schools, arenas, whatever, were able to get the players to the handshake line and then form a wall where they could do the handshake line and get to their locker rooms. And you could have on the other 40 feet of court, everybody going nuts. They let the players get to the side of court they need to get on. And when they ran onto the court, they made sure not to touch the players unless it was their team. Then they'd pick them up on their shoulders and what have you. But now, Mark, we're just running over everybody. So what do you do? I mean, if you think there's a different thing, but it's the same. 30 plus years ago, we had a problem in baseball, especially that, thousands of people were running onto the field. Okay. The famous Chris Chambliss homer, the Yankees win the pennant in 76 and what have you. He's barreling over people. Reggie damn near, forearm shivered a guy getting to the dugout. Okay. And all of us said, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And the Yankees from that moment on had cops, machine guns on horseback. Okay. And basically said, do it at your own risk. And whatever happens to you, good luck. Good luck suing us. Okay. And people stopped running out on the field. So
I think we bring horses onto the basketball court. I mean, if there's one thing that would add to this court storming would be some horses on the court.
But you know what I'm getting at. It was a show of force. And I'm just wondering if at some point, here's what I don't understand why they can't get the players to this. I don't understand why security can't form that wall where you guys can go, have your mosh pit over here, and over here we do the handshake line and everybody goes to their locker rooms and everybody's untouched. We did it for 30 years. How come we can't do it anymore?
I don't have the answer. I really don't, David. I would like to see it stay, but if it went away, I would understand it completely. If arenas decide that they're going to use what you just called a show of force and put police up to form walls.
But then again, they don't want to have to pay for that much security.
No.
I mean, that's expensive. And you don't know you're going to win before the game.
Correct.
Paying all this money to lose by 25. But, I mean, do we have to – is there a threat? Okay, first off, if you say court storming's not allowed, in theory, that would stop what, 20, 30% of the court stormings? People, not all of them would play by the rules, but what penalties do we want to put in place? Do you want to risk forfeiture of the game? I mean, I would like to think that would slow it down. Just so you know, you run out on the court, your team's lost. Now you have to make sure it's not like the guy in the Super Bowl who placed a bet that there'd be a streaker, and then he was the streaker.
Yeah.
So you're going to take away U of D's win with the one guy that came on the court. We're going to forfeit that game.
I am not. That's not a court storming by definition. That's a court wandering.
Fair enough.
But you know what I'm getting at here.
No,
What's
I know
the
exactly
penalty?
what you're getting at.
Right.
And if you want to stop it, and if that's your goal, then the penalty has to be extremely harsh. And
Right.
fines don't work.
Well, clearly, because the people running out on the court aren't paying them. So what do you threaten the students with? I mean, seriously, you want to threaten them with what? Suspension? Throwing them out of school? You tell me. And by the way, you want to keep the court storming. So threatening them with,
No,
I
but
mean,
if you're asking me ways to deter it, forfeiture, arrest. I mean, you threaten someone for getting arrested. I would think that would weigh large on an 18 to 20-year-old before they storm the court.
even though obviously if 300 people run out onto the court, how many of them are going to get arrested? 8. But it might stop a bunch of people from doing it. Will you just allow Filipowski to walk to the sideline, please? I mean, come on.
I don't know what the answer is.
I want to keep
But the
it.
penalties have to be really harsh if you want to get rid of it.
Well, I don't want to get rid of it. I would like to, have my cake and eat it too here. But I mean, I want to say to the students, you guys are ruining this. We're like one step away from getting rid of this. And it's your fault. We did this for 2 generations. How come you guys can't do this? What's your problem? Starting 5's next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I think Ambient's right. I think that should be the poll question.
Let's do it. Ambient, what are the strict rules?
Is it time to ban court storming?
Yes or no?
Very simple.
And I mean, the ambient, that's what we're trying to find. I'm not picking on Mark. Mark's not picking on me. We're not picking on you. But what are the rules? What's the punishment? We want to keep court storming, but we want to go back to doing it effectively.
Can I be that guy for a second? Why was Filipowski even in the game?
Well,
What do you doing?
remember, hold on. They're only down 4.
Yeah, but there's a second left.
Well, it was like a second and a half, 2 seconds. I mean, in theory, you can be fouled shooting a 3. I mean, you can't. If it was 5, I'm
Okay.
totally with you.
I guess my thing is like the students are on the floor at that point. So everything, you know what's gonna happen. Like why are your
Listen,
guys on the floor still? I know that I get it, but it's
you still had one last chance to tie the game and force overtime. I mean, you did. I called a 4-point play over the weekend. Hell, there are 5-point plays. I mean, I would have been fine if he had pulled his starters down 5. I would have.
yeah, I get it. I just I do think I'm just surprised no one has even.
I don't think
I'm not talking about you guys. I'm saying
I don't think the burden should be on Duke here. I don't.
I don't think it is.
I think you should be allowed to.
Well, that's why I said, can I be that guy for a second?
No.
No one wants to
I'm glad
hear
you
that
brought it
guy.
up. I just think that. I'm serious. They used to run on the floor. They used to avoid the players. They used to make sure they got down to their players. They jumped up and down together. It wasn't a problem. But listen, this happened in the NBA back in the day. There's video of Boston Garden fans running onto the court, Knicks. I mean, well, yeah, remember the Celtics won game 7 in 84. Kareem's having to push his way through Celtics fans to get to the locker room. They rushed the court hard. It was not safe. It's been going on a long time. So, Arch, your answer is keep it, but let security be able to what?
Apparently, just beat the hell out of people in this crowd.
What Honk Duke and the ACC off even more is that the Wake Forest came out and said, we thought there might be a court storm, and we actually prepared for it. Really? What are the consequences, guys? What are the rules? So we're going to keep it, but what? We kicking them out of school? Also, do you get penalized just for coming onto the court, or do you have to get penalized after you harm someone?
No. If you're going to do it, if you're going to try to get rid of it, it's got to be anybody that's on the court. It can't.
Well, right, but it seems like I think people are trying to keep it. So what's the punishment if you run into Filipowski? There.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Mike Eruzione at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Shelby Mast 2 hours from now. Who's in, who's out, how many teams from what conferences? It's bracketology, baby. Selection Sunday, 20 days away. All right. Do we have a poll question? We were going to go a certain way. I proposed a poll question last night. That has seemingly been discarded because we've got something better.
It's just very simple. Is it time to ban court storming?
Banned
Yes or
it.
no?
Jay Billis wants it banned. It's tough to argue with his logic. Fans don't belong on the court. Players don't belong in the stands. That's tough to argue with. Kind of agree with it, to be honest with you. Yet I'd like to keep the court storming. It keeps college ball college. It's, but I don't know if we can. We're screwing up a good thing. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. So for the record, you two you want to keep it, right?
I do. It's been a weird thing this season where I think I don't want to say getting blown out of proportion, but there's been a couple of bad instances this season particularly. Historically, it's not this big of an issue.
Well, true. Historically, it's happened, but I mean, there have been people that were hurt. There was actually a college player. There was a high school player. His team won. Okay. He got knocked down so hard by his fans, he suffered a seizure and is partially paralyzed. I mean, this has happened. It's just this year, it's happened to the most high-profile women's player, Caitlin Clark, who got run over. And now it happened to a guy playing for Duke on national television, and they're ranked in the top 10. And their coach came out within 6 minutes and sat down at the podium and said, we got to ban this once and for all. And the Wake Forest head coach didn't disagree with him. I mean, he didn't agree with him, but he did say, I can tell you the players don't feel safe out there.
Yeah, and Matt Painter was one of the first on this weeks ago.
Painter's been pounding the table about this, and he pounded it before Caitlin Clark got run over.
Yep.
So, yes or no?
And I put no. I put no because I still like the fact that there's something special about collegiate sports. College basketball, it's one of the few places where I think that separates that sport from so many others. But I'm not as strong of a no as I used to be, if you know what I mean.
Fair enough. So that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. It is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, as we mentioned, Selection Sunday in 20 days, so the regular season winding down. Big Sunday of hoops as well. Why in the world was South Florida an underdog at home? They're in first place in the American. SMU's in 4th. South Florida had won 12 in a row. What were we missing? So needless to say, we bet the Bulls hard, and they beat SMU 79-68. And with FAU losing at Memphis, South Florida's clinched a tie for first at worst in the American. They're going to go into that conference tournament as the 1 seed. Man, how about that AD? Think that AD is going to ask for a raise? It's going to go before the people he answers to and goes, have you seen the football and men's basketball coaches I've hired? I don't know. I'd like a few more shekels. Purdue, they won. They didn't cover. Come on. Ranked team on the road. No, they're not going to cover. 84-76. Creighton on the road at St. John's. That's taking candy from a baby. St. John's, of course they beat Creighton. 80-66. How in the world would either one of you two like to explain to me how Michigan State could lose at home to Ohio State?
Well, you mean when they had a 10-point lead in the second half?
And Ohio State's terrible on the road. Hell, they don't even have a coach.
How long was the winning streak of Michigan State over the Buckeyes?
I don't know, but Ohio State had a 17-game road losing
streak. 17-game road losing streak. Yeah, not anymore.
No,
they hit a 3 at the buzzer. Beat Sparty 60-57. Marquette rolled. Nebraska won their 20th game of the year. Nebraska doesn't win 20 games a year in basketball very often. Good for the Cornhuskers. They beat the Gophers by 18. South Carolina on the women's side is 27-0. They beat Kentucky by 48. No big deal or anything. 48. 6 seed NC State. Number 7 USC. Number 9 Oregon State. Number 10 K-State. All lost on the women's side. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Stanford won. Number 4, Iowa. Caitlin Clark had a decent day at the office against Illinois. 24 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists. They won by 16. Miami won. Florida FAU, South Florida all lost in women's hoops. And over the weekend, Mississippi Valley State kept perfection alive. They're 0-27. They lost at home to Texas Southern by 21. They have one more home game left, then I think 2 road games, and then I think that's it. Then conference tournament. Can they do it? Can they put the donut on the board? Don't you? At this point, they got to get a win, right? Come on, they just please. No,
You got to have empathy for those guys.
I'm starting.
David doesn't.
Well,
You're starting to.
I'm starting to
Play that back for you during the break, and listen to your empathy for Mississippi Valley State.
I'm starting to only because we've won a lot of money betting against them. I'm just wondering if we should donate to the cause. No. NBA Friday night, the Heat and the Pelicans, they literally fought. There was a bit of a melee, shall we say. 5 players suspended. Jimmy Butler and Nikola, is it Jovic? Okay.
Yeah, Nikola Jovic, yes.
Jovic, my bad. They each got a game, okay, for the Heat. Najee Marshall for the Pelicans also got a game. But Jose Alvarado for New Orleans and Thomas Bryant for the Heat, they both got 3 games. Not only did they come off the bench, which you're not allowed to do, they came off the bench and fought. I got to admit, I kind of like that. Anyway, so Trae Young had to have surgery on the pinky finger on his left hand. He's going to miss a month. And the Hawks immediately went out and beat the Magic by 17 without him. I'm just throwing this out there. If they do decently without Trae Young, do you think this leads to Atlanta trading Trae Young in the offseason?
100%.
Yeah.
Giannis with 30. Doc Rivers and the Bucks are 2-0 coming out of the All-Star break. They beat the Sixers in Philly 119-98. LeBron scored 28, but Phoenix is currently the 6th seed in the West. They beat the Lakers by 10. This Jokic guy's pretty good. All right, 32, 16, and 16. I don't know what Draymond's going to say now, but whatever it is, shut up. Because you were guarding him. 32, 16, and 16. Denver went into Golden State and beat the hot Warriors 119-103. Kind of like what you guys are doing is cute. You used to be the big boys. Now we're the big boys. Tonight, by the way, the Heat are in Sacramento. NHL. Mark, right when the Lightning get to the precipice, they go, you do know we're the Lightning, right? Kucherov with a 4-point game. Big game, too, against the Devils. Devils, one of 3 teams trying to chase him down for that final playoff spot. And Tampa Bay said, please, we've got a Vasilevsky, a Hedman, a Kucherov. Are you serious? 4-1 Lightning over the Devils. Columbus snapped the Rangers' 10-game winning streak 4-2. The Steelers beat the Eagles 7-6. A goal line stand won it. Crosby with a goal and 3 assists for the Penguins in the 7-6 win over the Flyers. How about your guys' Wings? Comfortably in playoff position right now.
Yeah, and give it up for the fans in Chicago. That was pretty cool. Patrick Kane coming back home and the TV timeout. They put a video montage up of Kane. Big standing ovation that lasted the entire commercial break. Very cool.
Big emotional night in Chicago. They retired Chelios' number 7. Kane returning to Chicago as a Red Wing. And then who scores the game winner? Patrick Kane.
Showtime.
Buffalo 3-2 over Carolina in a shootout. NASCAR might have been the best finish of the weekend, and that includes buzzer beaters, Kane, going top shelf for the win. But NASCAR was 3 wide for the final couple laps in Atlanta. Daniel Suarez edged Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch for the win. 3 wide. They were separated by like a foot at the wire. It was really cool.
It was. And the announcer, I think, got it wrong. Thought Blaney won it initially.
I know.
It was Suarez that won it.
Ross Chastain finished 7th. In golf, 3rd rookie to win on the PGA Tour this year, because they're winning all the events that the top guys aren't playing in. Jake Knapp is his name. He won the Mexico Open by 2. Won $1.5 million and an invite to the Masters.
That's Jake Knapp, everybody.
Jake Knapp.
Jake
K-N-A-P-P. There'll be a quiz at the end. LPGA, they're in Thailand. They're playing a series of tournaments, Thailand, China, Korea. The hometown hero, Patty Tavatanakit, she hadn't won in 3 years. She's now won in back-to-back weeks. And she won the Thailand Open, which I'm imagine being from Thailand's got to be pretty damn cool. She birdied 18 to win. And you could argue biggest news over the weekend, NFL salary cap. They thought it was going up like 18 million. Yeah, it went up nearly 31. Cap's now 255 and change. Now, most teams are still going to release who they thought they were going to release, but there were like 8 teams that went from having to cut guys to like, no, we're good. We don't have to cut anybody if we don't want. So at 11 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
That was a quick one, David.
I'm sorry, what?
That was a quick one.
Yeah, well, just fast moving. If I had done the whole weekend, 2.5 days worth, I'd still be talking. Do want to say, though, the Dolphins, they were 50 plus million over the cap. So even though they got an extra like 12 million, they still had to cut Xavier Howard and Emmanuel Ogbah. They're going to save about 37 million this year. I think Howard's going to technically have to be a June 1st cut, because if they cut him immediately, they're only saving like 2.5 million this year. Now it means that they eat all of it in 2024 and they don't push any of the can down the road. But if they wait till after June 1st, they save a ton of money this year, and they're kicking the can where he counts so much this year and a decent amount next year. So I think he's going to be a June 1st cut. And the bad news about that, Mark, is that the money doesn't free up until you technically cut him.
Well, and for X, it doesn't give him the opportunity to be one of the early signings in the free agent period as well. That's be one of the late guys got. I mean, he'll be someone the teams will want.
Yeah, I mean, the teams could kind of put the deal in the drawer.
Right.
Okay. And then everybody goes about their business for 2 months. And then miraculously, he's cut on June 1st and he signs on June 2nd. Wow. How'd that happen? But anyway, looks as if X and Ogbah are see ya. And the Bengals announced that, we're tagging T. Higgins. They announced that before found out they had about 12 extra million to play with. And the latest reports are that Mike Evans wants to retire a Tampa Bay Buck, and apparently they wouldn't mind that happening either. Oh, okay.
I will say, if that's the case, Roy Cummings has been spot on with this.
He has.
Since before the trade deadline. We've talked to Roy about Mike Evans 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
But they quite literally will need to put their money where their mouth is.
Well, but now they have about 12 extra million to play with. So in theory, they can pay the guy.
What do you think they're going to offer him?
I think 20 a year. I think they're going to say to him, listen, we know you could get 23 a year. We know you get 3 for 70 out there. How about 3 for 60? Florida taxes, you stay here, give us a little bit of money. We got to sign Baker, still have to improve the team. What do you say?
Mark?
I think that makes sense. I mean, if he wants to retire there, he's basically saying, I'll give you a discount.
So if he retires in Tampa, is he the greatest Buccaneer of all time?
Ooh, great.
He gives you another 3 years of this production.
Boy,
Seller.
You got to remember,
best offensive player, I think you could argue.
I think you can argue that now.
But, man, there's some hombres on the defense that you're putting up against. I can't do that.
I don't know. For as much as I love Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp was a bad man. I know Brooks is probably thought of as the greatest Buccaneer ever, and goodness knows off the field and on, the whole package he is, but on the field, I don't know. You give me 99. I think I start 99 or 55. You got to start with one. Who you choosing? I think
99.
99.
Yeah, I think I'm starting with 99.
Mike Evans, though, 10 years, Super Bowl champ, one team.
Oh yeah, no. Jersey's going to get retired. He's going up there on the Ray J, no question. Warren Sapp was bad, man. Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
Mark
East.
Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So Peter King's retiring.
Yeah.
Let's get him on the show. Exit interview.
We actually did a few times back in the day.
We had Peter King on a few times.
Okay, a couple things. I have all 3 plays of the day, David, if you guys want to just fill a segment with that, or I can just pick one.
We could do the middle segment with all 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, just got all 3. And then also, do you still want, when we call Mike in an hour, do you still want to open with the call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Sonny, Leroy was amazing. He was so much better than the guys around him, too. T. Haynes taking Derek Brooks in that hypothetical.
Yeah, so the guy I played with Saturday was the guy that accused me of being tongue in cheek, called me the sandbagger. His partner, who's a 13 handicap, shoots 79 with 3 doubles. And you could tell the guy's playing the best golf of his life. I mean, he is playing out of his tree. We finally finished the 16th hole, and I look over at Traxel and I go, man, that bag of his must be heavy.
Well, they named a highway after Leroy also because of the timing. You know, they didn't even draft Sapp and Brooks till what, the 19th or 20th year of the franchise history. So Leroy had a head start. He's a great man. That was a shame. He died young. Very successful, smart. Helped USF Athletics get off the ground. Never mind his restaurant business. He was a good man. Gentleman. We had him on the show.
I was going to say we had him on the show.
Yeah, a few times, because when they opened Selman's in Fort Myers, he
Right.
came down and he did a few. Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final Monday of February. Hope you had a great weekend. I think all three of us did. So we're fired up. Morale is high on the show today. Hope it is in your household and where you are as well. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our poll question, pretty simple. We had another court storming incident over the weekend, and people are calling that this has got to be outlawed now. Sorry, too many people getting run over and hurt, and we got to stop it. Yes or no? Should they be banning court storming? Jay Bilas said simply, fans don't belong on the court, players don't belong in the stands. Pretty tough to argue with that.
Had a texter who went, way out of sports with me.
Uh-oh.
Basketball court storming, more serious crime, and started listing things. I'm like, we do sports.
Yeah.
So he actually came back with, just feel that court storming is out of joy and jubilation and innocent. And just to think to enforce that would be impossible unless you're going to put up boards like a hockey rink. But I do believe if you're going to storm the court, it should just be the student section.
Well, it is. I mean, I have to admit, usually it's not a ton of season ticket holders, but the students are running over people. So should they ban court storming? Yay or nay? Vote accordingly. There was another story that emerged a couple hours, I think, after we were done on Friday. So it seems like forever ago, Mark, because it was nearly 72 hours. But another court ruling against the NCAA. Once again, I really want to ask the question. Can anybody name the last time the NCAA won in court? Honest, about anything. When is the last time they won in court?
David, I don't think it's happened in my lifetime.
Believe it or not, it has. Okay, because 20 years ago, Maurice Claret and Northwestern, the NLRB, eventually ruled against him 10 years ago. Okay, I mean, but in the last 8-10 years, man, oh man, are they losing always. Seemingly.
Always.
Right. Not a lot. Always.
NCAA, if you're so right, how come you lose so always?
Right. So look at you going to little Jeff Daniels there. Well played, young man. Well played. So basically, Mark, we called the NCAA a couple years ago event planners, And that's really about all they're allowed to do now. They can't even enforce their own NIL rules, according to the courts. The courts have said, yeah, those rules are illegal and they're stupid, and no.
So employees sounding better and better to you, NCAA?
Once again, I don't know what options they have. They're down to the proverbial Hail Mary, in which if Congress doesn't get involved, then the NCAA truly is the governing body of college athletics will probably go away. I mean, in Houston, didn't they used to have a big building? It was called Enron. I mean, I'm being serious about this. We're not too far away from the NCAA just going away. I mean, or at least becoming truly just event planners, that there's no enforcement. They don't make up the rules at all anymore. At least not when it concerns compensation for players in any way, shape, or form. Here's the next step, though, and it is Miller and Moulton are much more on the side of making them employees. We think that that's the best of all the potential bad solutions, that's the best of the bad solutions. But there is still one sticking point, Mark. If you're an employee, well, how long am I allowed to keep this job? See,
I do think that they will come up with a 5-year rule.
How can you do that?
Well,
that's just what I'm wondering. I don't know. Like, we know there are certain jobs in which you can age out of a job. There's mandatory retirements of certain federal jobs at 70. Okay, we all know the jobs in which they don't age out of. President, the Supreme Court. Okay, but that's for another show on another station. But I'm just curious. I mean, like, we have age restrictions. You can't start playing until you're a certain age. Okay, does that still apply? I don't know. I'm just wondering going forward, is Tim Tebow going to be can Zach Edey play for 9 years? Like, seriously, if there's no market for him, if they say, listen, you're amazing at college, the NBA, you're not going to fit in the NBA. You're a big, slow guy who can't shoot. You're useless. In fact, you're detrimental to us. Okay, you're a skilled Taco Fall. Okay, I mean, no offense, you're useless. I know you're the 2-time National Player of the Year. I don't know what to tell you. We don't play that game anymore. I mean, and he decides, well, hell, I'll just stay here at Purdue. I'll get a master's, if there's some sort of rule about I still got to be in school. And
and I would think there would be some sort of rule that you've got to be that athletic employees. See what I did there?
I did. At least you took the student out of it.
No, exactly. Athletic employees must be enrolled in X number of classes,
right,
to be an athlete.
But going forward, I mean, I'm wondering, will the Zach Edeys of the world is kind of like, well, I don't know how much of a pro career I have, but I can make $1.5 to $2 million a year playing at Purdue. I'll just keep playing at Purdue
instead of going overseas and playing where he wouldn't make that kind of money.
Right. I mean, if they're employees, can you set a rule in that you can only have the job for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? I mean, I don't know. Is that legal? I'm asking. I don't know. We have a lot of lawyers who listen. We even have people in college athletics who listen. All right. I mean, that's the one part of going employee that Miller and Moulton haven't been able to figure out. Because obviously, at most other jobs, I mean, you can wait tables for 30 years if you're good enough at it. I mean, so that's the one thing I don't know, Mark. You and I, we think we got
tables for 30 years, even if you're not good enough at it.
Touche. Well played. Well, and depending on the athletic program, I mean, you can have a job for 10, 12 years as well.
Exactly.
I mean, if they're okay going, 16 and 14 every year, yeah, he's a backup small forward. He'll be fine. But anyway, so the NIL, the NCAA can't enforce their own rules. What in the world do you do right now for the NCAA?
Does this mean that these investigations that they're having with Florida and Florida State just go away?
Well, yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah,
to apply that to because
yes.
they're going after both Florida schools.
Well, and they went after Tennessee and Virginia, and so their
That
AGs
was
got involved, right? And so now it's crap. Now the NCAA is going to try to argue, well, what they did was before we put the rules in place, and yet somehow then we can rewind time and go after them. Well, yeah, what they did when they did it, they weren't allowed to do it. I think that's what the NCAA is going to argue. I think Florida and Florida State and Tennessee had a really good day Friday. A really good day. I mean, if you're the NCAA, shouldn't we just put all the banners up at this point? I mean, are we honestly? I mean, shouldn't we restore Louisville's men's basketball title? Can't we say that the Fab Five went to the Final Four? So did Marcus Camby's UMass team. Okay. So did Derrick Rose's Memphis team. I mean, come on. Can't we just, at this point, can't we just put the damn banners up?
It looks a little silly to say the very least.
Golly. Yeah, I think the Gophers have a 1997, I think it is, Final Four team men's basketball that they had to take that banner down because Clem was really good at getting the guys paid. He was good at it. So, yeah, they had to take that banner down, put it back up.
But to your point, David, if they make them employees, how long can they be employees for? Because
I don't know.
We have argued this is the best solution, but we don't have the answer as to how long it is. I would think they could put a rule in place, but I don't know.
I just wonder, would that get challenged as well? Because right now, everything's being challenged. I mean, we've all wondered for a long time, 20, 30 years. I'll say this, the NFL putting the rule in that you have to be 3 years removed from high school before you can be, I can't believe that can't be challenged and overturned. But 20 years ago, Claret tried to challenge it and lost. But that was 20 years ago. Now, I don't know how that rule can survive. I really don't. I don't know how the NFL would win. And the Patrick Petersons and the Julio Jones of the world, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s of the world, who would just be able to, I mean, they would have been like an NBA 1 year at college and be like, he can play in the pros. He's good enough athletically. He's strong enough. He can play in the pros. I don't know how that rule, Mark, stays. I don't know why that rule is not being challenged. But that's another subject. In trying to find a solution, Mark, I just don't know how the model of we, the fans, the boosters of these colleges, have to be the ones who literally have to come up with the money to pay the players. And then we also have to buy the tickets.
And give money to the school as well.
Right.
Because the school still needs money.
Correct. So the people who are collecting the television money and the sponsorship money and the ticket revenue, they're not paying for the players. We, the fans, have to come up with a side business, call it a collective, okay? And every year, by the way, there is no cap. Wait a minute. I paid $1.5 million for this quarterback. What do you mean now it's $2 million? I don't know what to tell you. It's $2 million. Well, I can't come up with $2 million. Well, then he's going to LSU.
Yeah, he's going to transfer because they've got the money.
Right. Don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's why I think the university is going to have to start paying for the players, because I don't see how the boosters nationwide are going to continue to go, oh, yeah, we'll come up with the money and we'll come up with the seat license money, and then we'll pay for the tickets. Right. Oh, yes. And then you're asking for how much to donate to the General University Fund? I thought that shutdown corner was the General University Fund. No? Huh. Okay.
Oh, and by the way, we need a linebacker, a D lineman, and we could use a receiver.
By the way, can my daughter get into your school? She's got a 4.5. No? She's not good enough anymore, huh? Oh, okay. Good to know. Thanks.
21,000's the text line asking you today if you would ban court storming. Yes or no? Another incident happened over the weekend at the Duke game. Mike Eruzione in 45 minutes right here on Miller and Moulton. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GI certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. David, we're good. Summer camps are set. We're good for summer camps.
Oh, well, that's important.
You have no idea.
What am I missing here?
Oh, just the daughter summer camp. Got to get those things set. If you're not done here in February with summer camps, you're shut out, Trent. Today was first day to register. I mean, it was the talk at soccer practice or soccer game on Sunday morning, making sure everybody's getting their kids in the Estero Rec Center for summer camp.
Is it overnight?
No.
Oh,
just
like a thing.
Just for parents that work somewhere to put your kids in the summer so you can continue to go to work.
That's funny.
Thought maybe we'd get a week off of practice with soccer, David. Don't have another tournament for a month, but they're right back at it Tuesday and Thursday.
Growing up, we used to actually like fill a cabin of buddies, and we would do like a week at an overnight camp. That was
Okay.
so much fun.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of overnight camps here.
They don't.
No.
Yeah, that was a huge thing growing up. Like, it was the highlight of your summer. And it was in Holland, Michigan. So like this is like 20 minutes away from where I lived. So like all the surrounding schools would have cabins full. And that's how you met people from other schools. It was fun.
Except for TCU's favorite.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Mike Eruzione in 40 minutes time. And if you weren't with us last week, we had Mike lined up on Thursday, which was the anniversary of when he scored the game-winning goal and beat the Soviets. And then we played Sunday and beat Finland and won the gold. And but that whole AT&T phone snafu, and so Mike was sitting by his phone, and we were trying to call Mike, and obviously sometime after the show, everything was rectified, and we realized, son of a gun. So Mike had obligations, and he couldn't do it Friday, and then so he's like, "You still want me?" We're like, "We are, Mike Eruzione, yeah." So the timing's not perfect, but the sentiment is, and Mike Eruzione will join us in about 40 minutes. So there. And Shelby Mast in a little over an hour. 20 days away till Selection Sunday, baby. We're getting serious. Michigan State just played their way to the play-in. I mean, what are we talking? What seed are the Gators now? So, for that matter, can South Florida get an at-large?
Not a chance.
Come on. Well, are you sure about that, Shelby? Are you sure?
Not a chance.
Okay.
How about the Gators? You got to love it, man. They are just working their way on up. They're going to be a 4 seed.
Wow.
Seriously, I mean, come on.
They'd probably have to win out.
But they can't. With the teams on their schedule, it's all in front of them.
Well, we'll see.
Shelby has them as a 6 seed right now for what it's worth.
So Shelby Mast, the bracket wag himself, will join us in a little over an hour. But listen, a lot of pressure on Trent right now, Mark. A lot of pressure. I mean, usually it's, guys, I'm struggling just to come up with one play of the day. And now,
poor kid. I mean, you give that voice to him so many times. He didn't even do anything to deserve the voice there.
He bet against St. John's yesterday. He went against our system. Yes, he earned that voice today.
I will concede. That's reason enough. I went against the system. Our system is money right now.
Money, and he knew it, and we laid it out in a text, and he said, yeah, I'm going the other way.
Love
love
Creighton.
You love Creighton. You huddle up with Creighton. So, all right, listen, you got some tough choices. Play of the day. Hell, there's like 17 of them from the weekend. So what are you going with?
Well, we can start at the Ambetter Health 400 NASCAR Cup Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's a mouthful. Nowadays, with all this technology, it's very rare to get a true photo finish, but this was all that and then some. I'm just going to play it. We'll give a little context afterwards. Here's how it sounded in real time.
Here it comes, Kyle Busch to the middle, shooting the gap. No help with Kyle Busch.
Oh, Suarez right alongside him, 3 wide. Off turn 4. Here they come to the flag. 3 abreast. Photo finish.
I think it's Blaney. Unbelievable. 3 wide finish. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Scoring has the margin between the first 3 cars at 0.00 seconds.
How awesome was that?
It was not Blaney, indeed. It was Daniel Suarez who eked it out. Eyelash ahead of Blaney and some guy named Kyle Busch. The margin was 0.0007 seconds.
Ah, how about that?
Unbelievable. Reminiscent of Lightning McQueen, Chick Hicks, and Strip Weathers at the Piston Cup. Little Cars reference for you.
Nice. Well done. Well done. Okay. So we could go with that.
We could.
I know there's other stuff out there.
3 wide. That was a good one. The next one, a homecoming for the ages. Patrick Kane brings Showtime back to Chi-Town. Red Hot Red Wings at Blackhawks. It's an Original 6 Classic. Went to overtime, which is great for the Wings because I couldn't tell you the last time they lost in overtime. Here's an octopus-worthy game winner from Chicago legend in a Red Wing sweater. Come on. You gotta be kidding me.
It's Patrick Kane in Chicago.
Oh my God!
Kane with the overtime winner. The Red Wings win it 3-2. The story is complete on Kane's return to Chicago.
Ken Daniels just losing his mind there.
Listen
Patrick
to that
Kane.
crowd. That's in Chicago. They just lost.
Yep. And like Mark said, Chicago crowd did a great job of giving Patty Kane his due credit.
As well they should.
One of the greats.
And that's saying something because that's a franchise that's got a few legendary players, and he is right up there with them.
He sure is. So this last one.
Just sting a little bit?
Oh, of course. I'm not over it. You guys, the people on the stream and on the air didn't hear my whole rant to begin the morning, but
good.
Michigan State, yeah, a good thing. Good for them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Michigan State hosting Ohio State up 10, 32-22 at halftime. And then I don't know what happened, but this happened in the last 2 seconds of the game.
Got it to Thornton. Bruce Thornton ahead. Potter at the buzzer. Got it! The 17-game losing streak on the road comes to an end.
So no court storming there because it was in East Lansing. Nice job, guys. Spartans lose firmly on the bubble. Ohio State, meanwhile, no chance to make the tournament unless they win the Big Ten tournament. But the slide for Sparty continues. And the Buckeyes, without a coach, get the win.
Was that Nestler?
I'm not exactly sure.
I think it was. It sounded like Nestler to me.
Okay.
Because it was on CBS, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And Nestler, I know, is doing college news for him.
Jay Wright was doing color. And he was great, by the way. Jay Wright is awesome at color. But
I think Jay Wright eventually will replace Raff. Okay.
That's a good call.
I think they'll keep it as a 3-man booth, Iron Eagle, Grant Hill, and they'll work Jay Wright in.
I'm not sure how you guys feel about this, and David, you're probably the perfect guy to ask, but I think college hoops is the best sport to have a 3-man booth. Because you can have a guy, you can have the great Jim Nance, you can have the great Grant Hill doing the actual color, and then you have Bill Raftery there to just kind of sprinkle a little on it. You know, just he's there for fun.
It's funny. I actually think that the game is so quick, it's the toughest sport to do. Well, hockey would be the toughest, but I
I don't
actually
think
think
there's a
it's
sport
hard.
that needs a 3-man booth.
But when it's done well, it's done so well. Like when it's done the right way, like
Like, I think
the 3-man booth I just gave you, it's perfect.
I think baseball actually could use a 3-man booth. But
Well, don't tell Bob Costas that.
well, I think Bob would prefer a 1-man booth.
Yes, he would.
That's what I'm saying. The more is not the merrier with Bob Costas calling baseball.
So if we didn't have a poll question, we could have asked essentially, what was the play of the day? What was the best highlight of the weekend? The 3-wide finish in Atlanta. Patrick Kane coming back to Chicago, scoring the game winner in overtime for the Wings against the Hawks. Beautiful goal. It's a goal scorer goal. Top shelf glove side. I mean, that's just a sniper.
And just hearing the roar of the crowd as he's kind of breaking away. It's by himself. It's one-on-one. You know what's going to happen, but it was a thing of beauty. But Mark, Molly Maid bringing us 3 plays of the day today.
774-5839. That's 239-774-5839. Give your spouse the gift of a clean house.
Look at that. Trifecta.
Right.
Usually we're struggling for one. Got a nice trifecta there. Sorry about the last one, but you got to do it.
Well, in college at our radio show at Michigan State, we had a Trent's trifecta, and I had to give 3 plays from the week. I had a whole week to work with there because it was Sunday mornings.
Right. That's the difference between college and the pros, Trent. You got to pick up the pace. They say, like quarterbacks, the gaps get smaller. It's a lot faster. No?
Bring it every day. That's all you're saying.
You're stepping up in class now. Everything is faster, Trent.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know, Chelios actually played longer in Detroit than Chicago.
Yeah, because he played Montreal too.
Yeah, it's just that doesn't seem right, but it is.
Dang.
So play of the day, I usually just POD. That's what I call it. That was a tripod. There you go.
I see what you did there.
Wow. That would have been good to have on the air.
Well, sometimes I never know.
we all think of the good stuff afterwards. We all do it and go, damn.
That's the type of thing, though, that I might have said, and then I thought you would have just ripped me for it.
No.
So Miami, Arkansas, and Michigan State are probably the three teams I think that have way underperformed this season, as far as like what their preseason expectations were.
USC.
Michigan State they were preseason number 4. Arkansas was preseason top 10, I think.
USC was top 20, I think around 16.
I was talking to my dad about this. I'm not sure how you guys feel about this, but I think they got to stop doing they got to start doing the AP poll after like 2 weeks.
They won't.
I know they won't.
It's clicks.
But it's stupid because the rest, you know what I mean? Like that sets the field basically.
No, it doesn't.
And then that's
the net sets.
That's their basis, though. I mean, perfect example, Mark, was our Spartans because they start at 4 and then they lose their very first game to James Madison. Well, how far did they drop? I don't even remember, like 20. And it's like at that point,
yeah, but
were they even?
But college basketball is not done by the polls; it's done by net.
Correct.
And net looks nothing like the AP poll.
That's true. So start putting the net ranking on the graphic.
It's an interesting question, Ambient. I don't know.
Probably should be.
I wouldn't bet Miami, Killo's dad. They're awful.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Twenty-two minutes to the top of the hour. Mike Eruzione will join us at the top of the hour. Shelby Mast, 1 hour from now, we'll do a little bracketology with you. If you have a question for either Mike or Shelby, 21,000 is the text line, Twitch chat room, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. Peter King's retiring. The Hall of Fame NFL writer, Monday morning quarterback guy. And I know he renamed it when he had to leave SI and what have you. But so he said, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to watch a Super Bowl.
On TV.
Right. Huh. Okay. So don't know how old you think Peter King is. Like when end of the show, we do today was the day one and all that. Mark's got certain anniversaries and what have you, but we do birthdays. Sometimes we guess how old people are. How old do you think Peter King is?
He's got to be in his late 60s.
66. Yep. Been covering the NFL for, I think he said 40 years. And he said this seemed like and he's done 40 consecutive Super Bowls. And he goes, this seems like the right time. So Peter King's column is going away. Don't know how many of you still read it.
I like what he said when he interviewed Andy Reid before the season. Said, "You're going to retire?" And Andy looked right at him and said, "Are you?" And Peter said he didn't know the answer. And that's when it hit him that it might be time.
Right, because Peter said, little did Andy know, but I was seriously thinking about it. And deep in the back of my mind, I kind of knew this was my final year. So just, a little tidbit out there. But court storming, that's our poll question. Should they do away with it? Yes or no? Should we keep this sucker and just figure out a way to do it safely? Or no, man, it makes no sense. Why are we allowing the fans on the court anyway? They don't belong there. So I think most of us would like to try to have our cake and eat it too, but right now we're failing. So if you got to make a decision, how do you keep it? Can't pay. I mean, these colleges aren't going to pay for the type of security that you need to either prevent a court storming or to hold a court storming off so that you can secure that the players are safe. So what are we going to do, Mark? Do you think it gets banned, by the way?
No, I don't. I think that deep down, the colleges still like it.
But I'm not sure the commissioners of the leagues like it. I agree with you. I think the colleges like it. I don't think commissioners do.
And you may see more commissioners follow the SEC's rule and start fining, which is just the school paying. It doesn't affect the kids.
Right.
And then the question is, do the schools want to trespass kids, never allow them in a game again? Do they want to go as far as to arrest people who storm the court? And with video, they could find a lot of kids. It wouldn't be too tough.
No. It would take a while, but eventually they'd knock on your dorm room and go, hey, Tony, come with me. So that's our poll question. All right. Do we ask, do you want to keep them? Is that how we phrased it? Or do we want to do away with them? How did we phrase it? I think we asked if you want to keep them.
Time to ban court storming.
So is it time to ban them, yay or nay? Miller and Moulton are both no. I'm a no, but. Trent's a no way. Keep them.
I'm a no, but too, though. I'm a no, and I've never been this vulnerable to being talked into banning court storming.
Remember, we had it in college football. There was probably one this year, but the one I remember from 2022 when Tennessee kicked the field goal to upset Alabama. They hadn't beaten them in 15 years. And they went crazy at Rocky Top. They just started filing over the sides, and you could not see the field. There were so many people. And the Alabama players were walking off slowly, disappointed. And there were a couple of incidents. One was caught on videotape in which an Alabama player who had already been some fans had made contact with him and what have you. And the next fan that made contact with him, he kind of threw a forearm. Well, that was a woman who made contact with him from behind. And so there's video of this Alabama player, and it looks like he's striking a woman. Well, he didn't know who it was. And he's like, get off me. And so then there was that whole issue.
It does it obviously puts the player in a very vulnerable position.
Yeah.
If you defend yourself, you're made to look like a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we've had players who have been injured now by fans who have hit them storming the court.
In no other sport, we usually when an athlete sees a fan running at him on the field, they think bad things. Uh-oh, something bad could happen to me here. Unless you've hit the game-winning shot and it's your fans. But you could see where players on the road are thinking, oh, boy, this ain't good. So what do we do? Now, I will say, like at both Auburn and Georgia, they have hedges in between the stands and the field. Now, that didn't prevent them from Auburn with the kick six of, there were still about 10,000 people that were on the field at Auburn. But
they just took out a few hedges to get there.
Yeah.
And then you always get the one drunk student that gets stuck in the hedges, which makes for great video.
It does. It's like being in the ball pit. All right. Did you ever have trouble getting out of the ball pit? Your kid's in there, and so they want you to jump in with them. And it's real easy. Eventually, you get over to the kid, you pick the kid up, you hand him, to the wife or to someone else.
Then you got to get out.
And now you got to get out of the ball pit. The foam pit, too. Not even the ball pit, the foam pit.
The foam pit is much harder.
Much.
I'm afraid of the foam pit. The daughter does gymnastics. They have the big foam pit there for the girls to practice landing safely and all of that. I look at that thing, and if they threw me in that, I don't know if I'd ever get out.
You're not lining up to do cannonballs
No.
in the foam pit?
We're in Fargo, and our daughter's 18 months old, and we sign her up for this stuff. And so she, in the foam pit, and finally it's time for her to get out. And so I jump in to get her out, and now I got to get out. Now, I'm not as heavy as I am now, but, I'm not svelte.
I would pay to see this.
And it was, at first, it was kind of like quicksand. I mean, the more I tried, the deeper I went. I'm like, this is not good. They're going to need a backhoe to get me out of here in about 2 minutes. So it was quite a production.
I would pay serious money to see that.
There was video. There was video. I don't think it exists anymore.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I understand. Certain
How
stuff
does it not exist anymore?
Well, because certain stuff can be thrown out and eliminated.
That's a disappointment to a lot of folks right there.
Yeah, well, certain stuff needed to be sacrificed. Sorry. I can wear a Halloween costume on national television. I can do a lot of things to embarrass myself. I was not trying to embarrass myself there, but the foam pit won. That's all I can say. The foam pit won. Foam pit kicked my butt is what it did. Okay. I was like the guy who got caught in the tide and barely made it to shore. When I climbed out of that foam pit, I was just lying on the side. Cut me, Mick. Cut me. I mean, I was done.
Then, of course, the wife threw the daughter back in the foam pit, and it was round 2, and he was back at it again.
I said to my wife, I go, she can't go back in there. Only once a week. Don't throw her back in there. Don't make me do that again. So, anyway, that's our poll question. We're going to have to do away with this. And the NCAA was gutted like a fish Friday. Absolutely gutted in federal court. The court's telling the NCAA, yeah, you guys can't do anything about this NIL stuff, okay? The Supreme Court has ruled. These kids can make whatever they can make. You can't set any rules. It's ridiculous. Not if you're going to treat them the way they are now. No, you want to change their status. It's a different story. But you want to play this student athlete game, you can't do nothing.
And Miller and Moulton have been saying that the college athlete will become employees.
We think it's the only way that they can contain costs.
Someone did ask us today, David, on the text line, if they're employees, do they still have to go to class?
That's one of the things to be decided.
I think yes. I think there would be some sort of rule that there would have to be X number of credits to be a athletic employee of the university.
And I think that it will be up to each individual employee. Because I do think, Mark, like, let's just say I'm the school, you're the athlete, and you want to also get an education. I could say to you, well, the education costs money, and we'll save you a spot in the classes you want to be in, but we're going to have to charge you for it. just so you know. I mean, you're just like anybody else. So we may pay you $100,000 to play whatever it is, but just so you know, this education's 45.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Oh,
I don't.
Okay. I'm just wondering if the federal government will see it that way and go, that's a gift. Well, you got to tax that.
Now that's very possible. Now that, David, is a very distinct possibility.
So, I mean, we knew 5 years ago when we were advocating for this, we're like, this is going to be so messy. You have no idea how messy this is going to get. But we just felt that the athlete, all right, in a $1 billion enterprise, that quite frankly, the education was not compensation enough.
And the athlete now will have the opportunity to transfer anywhere they want, to make as much money as they want. And we think the only way to rein in the cost is to make them employees. But I do love this tongue-in-cheek text that we got, David. If they're employees, would it be an OSHA violation or a safety hazard to storm the court?
Make a dadgum good point. And then does the employee get to sue the employer for the court storming?
Right.
Is that a hostile work environment? Oh, it's Andrew Brandt, right? Who says, there will be lawyers. Oh, there already are.
And this is, we've said it a million times, but this is all the NCAA's fault. They just sat there and thought that the federal government was going to take care of them. Instead of putting any rules and practices in place ahead of time, they just kicked the can down the road and thought the Supreme Court was going to rule in their favor. It went 9-0 against them.
9-0 against them. 9-0 against them. And the most ardent of the 9 were the most conservative members of the court. And I think the NCAA thought it would be exactly the opposite. That they would win and that the conservatives would be on their side. And believe me, it was Kavanaugh and Thomas who were asking the most pointed questions and giving their opinions at the end of said questions.
So much so that Kavanaugh, who didn't write the brief, took it to himself to say, basically, end another thing.
Right. I think Justice Roberts felt, I'll write the opinion. And Kavanaugh said, I've got a few paragraphs here I'd like to add. And another thing. Right. And so the NCAA, I think, is still hoping Congress is going to get involved. Yeah, okay. Right. Sure. There's already a whole bunch of other stuff they're not getting involved in. You think they're going to get involved in this?
To bail you out?
Right.
When you've lost every step along the way.
Besides, when their biggest donors are bigger fans of their university than they are their politicians, and go, if you cost us a good football team, I will make sure you don't get elected. Mike Eruzione next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. David, 10-17 Prairie View at 0-27 Mississippi Valley State tonight. Mississippi Valley State's getting 9.5.
Man, at home, right? Yeah. I'd say we got to bet against them. They're really bad. Like Detroit Mercy was competitive in like a third of their games. Hell, they ended up being favored against Ooey Pooey. We saw that one coming 2 weeks out, but
There has never been more pressure on the equipment to work during this little rejoin.
You got him?
I'm about to call him, yeah. Got 2 minutes.
We got him.
Awesome.
We got him.
All right. You guys do your thing. In terms of when to get out of it, and then I'll just start talking.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Christian comes away, and Christian swings around his own goal and out to center to Schneider with a long shot. Good save by Michigan. Off his hands to the far corner. Pavlich comes over. It's knocked down. Eruzione shoots! Eruzione has scored, and the United States leads it 4-3. They are going crazy.
And that's the radio call from 44 years ago. And the gentleman who scored that goal, Mike Eruzione, was kind enough to reschedule and join us right now. Do you ever get tired of yahoos like us calling you up wanting to talk about Lake Placid?
No, not at all. Obviously over the years, my teammates and I have realized it was a special moment for a lot of different reasons. But, it brings joy to people's faces. People will come up to me and, they'll tell me I remember where I was when we won, and I always go, I didn't know you were on the team. It just, it was one of those moments that captured the spirit of a country at a time when we were needed something, and we didn't know. We were just playing, never realizing the impact that the game had. And I told someone last week, we could use a 1980 right now, but it was something that, depending on how old they were or are, when they come up to me, they'll say, I remember where I was on D-Day. I remember where I was on 9/11. I remember where I was when the Challenger blew up. I remember where I was when Kennedy was, all these things are sad, tragic stories. And then they'll bring up our story. So it's pretty special.
Looking back at the event, the whole weeks, from the game against Sweden, pulling the goalie and tying it, to whooping up on the Czechoslovakian team, was there a moment that you guys, when did you start believing what could happen happened?
Well, I think going into the games, we felt we had a chance to win a medal. Again, it's that old cliche, if you think you're going to lose, you probably will. So, you had to have a mindset of believing that we could play and do something special. And probably it was after the Czechoslovakian game. That was the only team that anybody thought could give the Soviets a game. And we pretty well dominated that game. I think we beat them 7-3. So maybe it was after that game with, we, and then maybe even the fans and the public started to think that maybe the team's got a chance to do something.
The night of February 22nd, we've had a lot of people send in things that they would like us to ask you. And a lot of it has to do with the movie, the speech that was portrayed from Coach Brooks. Was that the speech? How much of the movie, when you watch it, you go, oh, wow, that's right on the money?
There were obviously a few scenes in the movie that were pretty dead on. Herb's a lot friendlier in the movie. That's kind of one of the things we picked up as a team. The speech in the movie was a lot longer than what he had said. I remember it as, you were born to be a player. You were meant to be here. This moment is yours. But the day before in practice, he talked a lot about they're ripe, they're ready to be beat. If anybody can beat him, you guys can. So he was very positive and very upbeat in practice the day before. And I think some of the things he said in the speech in the movie were things he said to us the day before in practice.
albeit a little more colorful, right? I mean, the Herb, from what the stories I know from the people I worked with in hockey, and I spent a lot of time working in minor hockey, Mike, but the coaches that I knew that knew him said he may have been as colorful with the language as any coach that there ever was.
Yeah, he was, but he it's interesting. He very rarely heard the F-bomb from him. But he was very adamant when he discussed and talked. I mean, he was very deliberate. He was very to the point. There was no BS with Herb. And, that's how coaches coached in the 70s and 80s. My high school football, baseball, and hockey coaches, my college coach at Jack Parker, Boston University, guys that just had a passion to coach and teach and to get their point across. And that's just the way it was. And you deal with it. What are you going to do? Quit because the coach is hard on you? Well, you better find something else to do. So, I think, again, Herb was demanding and challenging, but two things we had about Herb, and I think this is true in coaching, we respected him and we trusted him. And if you don't respect your coach and if you don't trust your coach, you're in trouble. And I think we had that understanding with him right from the beginning.
Mike Eruzione, captain of the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team. He also authored The Making of a Miracle, and it is out there, and you can find it if you are so inclined. Follow Mike on Twix, as we like to say, Twitter and X, at Eruzione, Eruzione. Many scenes in that movie, like you said, we trusted him. Did you trust him from the beginning, or the movie portrays it as he had to learn to trust you guys? All right. And the famous scene where it was you who correctly, identified who we are as a team. Did that really happen, by the way, after a game?
Well, we did skate. And not all of us skated that night. Only 15 of us skated because Buzzy Schneider got thrown out for fighting, and only 16 of us dressed. And we did the Herbies. We did them for about an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes. They shut the lights off at the end. And I remember it as Mark Johnson smashing the stick against the glass. And after doing them for so long, Herb said, if I hear another stick break against the glass, you'll skate till you die. Well, nobody said a word. And then we went back in the locker room and he said, if you play this way again tomorrow, you're going to skate again. Well, we went 8-0 the next day. So the point was well taken and very well understood. But the thing about, about Herb and our team, there were 9 guys on the team who played under him at the University of Minnesota. So they kind of knew his act, and they knew what it was like to play for him. And they were, very helpful to all of us who didn't really know a lot about him, especially early, what to expect and what it was going to be like. So, we kind of understood it. But again, like I said earlier, that's the option. What are you going to do, quit and go home? You only got to deal with your coach for a couple hours. Then after practice is over, you go out with the guys and go wherever you're going to go, and then back to your apartment and back to the hotel if we were on the road, and get up the next day and go at it again. But that's just the way it was going to be. And like I said, I'm not quitting. You can yell at me all you want.
Well, and there was no quitting the team, obviously, and legendary stuff in beating the Russians. When you get them to take the number 1 goalie out of the game, were you aware of that? I mean, when Tretiak gets pulled, how conscious were you guys on the bench of that?
Well, I think for us, Michigan was the backup, and he was the guy that shut out the NHL All-Stars 6-0. So it's not like, their backup was not a great goaltender. Tretiak had let in 2 goals in the first period, very uncharacteristic. Maybe he was having a bad night. We never thought about anything other than worrying about what we needed to do. And again, I think that's a great, tactic and the way Herb approached the Olympic Games. So many times when I saw that in the movie, play your game, play your game. He constantly said that to us. We were never concerned about what other teams were doing. We needed to do the things that we needed to do in order to win and to play our game. And if we got behind by a bunch of goals, maybe we would have to have changed the way we were playing. But the fact that the games we were playing all stayed within a goal of each other, we continued to play our game. So regardless of who their goaltender was, we didn't care. We had to play our game and not worry about what they were going to do.
Mike, they dominated you guys in the second period. I think shots were 16-3. What was said in between the second and the third? Did you still believe, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're only down a goal. I mean, we've all played in hockey games where one team maybe takes control over another and you're still in the game. Again, if we were down 3 or 4, then now we're gone. Now it's over. But the fact that we stayed within one, Jimmy played great in the second period. And then we kind of took over in the third period. And, we did have some penalties in the second period, which didn't help us. But in order to win games like that, everybody's got to contribute. Everybody's got to help out. Everybody's, got to do their job. And I think we hung in there with that second period and came out in the third period. And I'm going to give you a statistic that was actually told to me a few years ago by Robbie McClanahan, one of my teammates. It's an amazing number. In the third period of the Olympics, we outscored our opponents 16-3. That's incredible. That's an unbelievable statistic. And I think that shows the speed and the skill and the conditioning of our team. And, after I scored, there were 10 minutes left, and it was a long 10 minutes. But I've only seen the game twice, and it was like 2 years ago, I think I saw it. In the third period after I scored, I think they only had 6 shots on goal. In the movie, it kind of flipped it a little as if we weren't even out there at the end of the game, and it was just save, save, save. But when you watch the game, we really kind of took over in those last 10 minutes. And,
it was the quick shifts. I know that was pointed out in the trainer with the stopwatch, and you guys, obviously the legs were there and the endurance of this team. That's 16-3 in the third period says a lot about the conditioning of the team, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And, we played 4 lines. We didn't just play, the 4 lines, then 3 lines, then 2 lines, or something like that. We sent out 4 lines constantly. Some of your shifts might have been 30 seconds, 25 seconds. And the next line, would go over the boards. And, maybe the only line that stayed out a little longer might have been Mark Johnson's line because, without Mark Johnson, we don't win. So, for the most part, we just kept, sending guys over, and out you go and off you come, and out you go and off you come. And, next thing you know, like I said, the period's over and you win the game.
Did you know that was the last time you were going to play hockey?
No, I wasn't sure what I was going to do after the Olympics. I had some offers, even going into the Olympics. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. The Rangers, Buffalo, Minnesota were going to sign me after the games, and I just kind of sat back and thought about my career as a hockey player. And at 25 years old, it was time to move on. And it's not like today. Somebody said, "Here's $50 million." I guess I'll play. For me, it was peace of mind. It was time to move on. I thought about even going to Italy and playing overseas, but. My dad always said to me, at some point in life, the game ends, and you got to make a decision. And I made a decision at that point that it was time to move on, and I was going to get into coaching and teaching because I didn't know this thing was a big event. We didn't, as a team, know. And then all of a sudden, my life took a little different path. And as I tell my friends all the time, thank God we won.
Mike, we got about 30 seconds. You sent out a tweet last night. What a great night in Chicago to honor 2 of the greatest American players, Patrick Kane and Chris Chelios. Mike, it seems as if American hockey started with you guys, even though the U.S. had won the gold in 60. It seems as if you guys started what American hockey now is today.
I think we opened the door for, 1, the American player, and 2, the college player. The NHL didn't have maybe any Americans, maybe 1 or 2, maybe a couple of college guys. In those days, if you didn't play major junior, you couldn't play in the NHL, which is not true. But we opened the door. They've knocked it down. The Chelioses. Yep. You look at Austin Matthews out of Phoenix and out of Arizona, where our players are coming from now. I work at Boston University, and, we're recruiting all over the country, where before it was Minnesota, Massachusetts, Michigan. So the growth of the game, the sport of the game, the talent and the skill level of the game, and the Americans that play it. Not only our men, let's put a nod out to our women and how far they've come and how great our women's teams are. So hockey's in a great state in this country, and we've got some great players.
Mike Eruzione, thanks for your time. Congratulations on all of your success. The great Mike Eruzione here on Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Yeah, that's one you can always archive for best ofs right there. Eruzione can always be played in a best of.
Will do.
It's a shame too, because there's obviously so much you could talk to him about.
Yep. That was
Good job. Good job getting the radio call. I had never heard that call.
Yeah, that one's better. I found them both, obviously, but it was just that one was better, I thought.
Way better.
Yeah.
I sent Mike a text thanking him. He sent me back a thumbs up and an American flag.
That's it.
You could always use another 1980.
Ain't that the truth?
No, Sonny, he hasn't. Well, because he stayed in New England for a long time. I think he's on the East Coast of Florida now and travels back because he still has a job with the BU athletic department. I think he may split his year, but I don't quite know where he is now, but I think he's got a place, I don't know, between Fort Lauderdale and West Palm. I'm doing that off memory. I could be off on that, but oh yeah, ambient. I mean, the U.S. Olympic thing is based out of Colorado Springs. So Eruzione's number? I thought Mike was like 20.
Yeah.
I'm not good with uniform numbers. No,
that's one of my
true.
strengths as a sports
true.
fan.
When they're active, I'm great with uniform numbers. My joke is that every person on the street should have a number I'd remember everybody's name. But
drafted by the New England Whalers in the WHA amateur draft. How about that?
Mm-hmm. It was a lot nicer in the movie.
That was great.
I did want to ask him about that scene, though. The skating him into the ground scene. Well, and I think by now it's known Herb Brooks was the last cut on the 1960 team that won the gold in Squaw Valley. Because actually he's in the team picture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool, Ambient. We did a senior open on Fox. I think it was 2018. It was
Oh yeah, what's the name of that course there?
Yeah, it starts with a B, I think.
Briarwood or something like.
Yeah, Briar.
Cliff?
Yeah, Briar. Yeah. And so that's actually where Joe decided I was going to be Troy's spotter. He just didn't tell Troy. That was awkward. Unbeknownst to me. Broadmoor, is that it? Could be.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's probably the worst thing, and welcome back, Miller and Moulton, blah, 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 Florida Sports Network, yeah, whatever. Probably the worst thing about us getting syndicated is that we didn't have hard breaks.
Ever.
For the first 15 plus years that we did a show. So we could just, you get Mike Eruzione on, you just go for as long as you sensed he'd be willing to go with you, and as long as we could hold up our end and ask decent questions. Unfortunately, now it's like, yeah, we got to break at 14 after. We got 13 minutes, go.
Yeah, we lost a lap there, David. We hit pit road way too fast.
Yeah, we did. And it's a shame because we could obviously.
Now we need a lucky dog to get back in the show. That's all.
Not a corn dog, which is the play that you call to win the Super Bowl. You need a lucky dog. How great is that? Especially for us who like to eat, that the winning play in the Super Bowl was corn dog. That's great. And that, you got a fat coach calling it too. I mean, that's what you want. You don't want Sean McVay calling corn dog. You want Andy Reid. You want a fat guy.
So you'll probably be upset with me, David, but I played in the golf tournament over the weekend. Guy I played with every year was hurt, so I had to find a sub and had a great guy. Bob was awesome, super nice guy. Really enjoyed my time with him. Except after yesterday. They had a little meal when we were done, and one of the things they had were hot dogs.
Right.
And I look over at Bob's plate as I'm eating my hot dog with mustard, and they had chili dog station. So I have chili and mustard and onions. I got this beautiful hot dog. And I look over at his plate.
No.
And there's ketchup only on his hot dog.
Oh!
He's out for next year.
That's it. It's over.
He's done.
Yep.
There are other people at the table. I didn't want to confront him on this, but I'm like,
Right.
what the hell is going on?
That's it. It's over.
It's been 9 hours. I mean, these were long rounds. Spent 9 hours with the guy.
It's a good thing you didn't find out till after, because you would have WD'd. That's
unbelievable.
How do you feel about mustard only?
That's the way it should be.
That's what my dad does.
Because he eats a hot dog properly.
This is a deal breaker, Trent. This is no. Trent, I'm not kidding. All right. We wouldn't have hired you, okay, if we knew you were a ketchup on a hot dog guy. And we had no other options.
Trent, literally, you've probably never looked at my ex bio, but the very first words on my ex bio say, ketchup on a hot dog should be a felony.
Okay. So clearly you guys feel some type of way about this. Isn't just like a radio shtick you're doing right
No,
now.
no.
This is the real deal.
No. We're not a stick show. We're really not. The stuff that we do that sounds like stick, that's just a way of us trying to dress up our quirks. No. Their stick is funny. No, it's not stick, man. That's who they are. No, it is. No, this is a deal breaker. This is officially a deal breaker for the two of us.
So it's just mustard, nothing else.
Well, it's just not ketchup.
Tony dog. If you can do chili, mustard, and onions.
Okay.
I prefer mustard, onions, and pickles on a hot dog, but I don't put ketchup. No relish, pickles.
Pickles. Actual pickles.
It's anything but ketchup. Literally.
A Chicago dog with all of those spices on a Chicago dog. You know what it doesn't have on it?
Ketchup.
Ketchup.
All right. I never really thought about this, but I guess you guys have a great point.
And as your dad would know, as someone who I'm quite certain attended a game at Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
When you went to Tiger Stadium, the hot dogs, the great dogs, the ballpark Franks at Tiger Stadium, and in the old days, the vendors had a beer cup full of mustard with basically a popsicle stick in there. That's how they put the mustard. That was your choice. You wanted ketchup, you didn't get ketchup.
Nice. I think I'm going to have to go get a hot dog at Costco and put only mustard on it.
I mean, I'd put WD-40 on a hot dog. I mean, so that's how much of a deal breaker it is with Miller and Moulton. That's all. No big thing or anything. Our poll question today is about court storming. Should we do away with it, yay or nay? We want to keep it, but it's getting hard, and we're not quite sure how to come up with, I don't know, incentive, threat of punishment to make it better while still keeping it.
60-40 right now saying it's not time to ban court storming.
That's actually a lot closer than I think it needs to be. If our audience is close to the national sentiment and the sentiment within, because I think the sentiment in college athletics, who will be making this decision? Commissioners. Who do commissioners talk to? University presidents and lawyers. So I think it needs to be by a bigger margin for the colleges to keep this, because we all know they're only out for themselves. They don't care about the fan. They don't care about, they don't care about the athlete. Okay, they're forced to take care of the athlete now. They went kicking and screaming.
I'm with you, David. If this was 80-20, I'd go, well, it's going
to stay.
Right.
Right. I was hoping for at least 70-30 for those that want to keep, court storming as an option.
And I think, a couple people have said it's basically jumped the shark to them.
I think it depends on who does the storming. Like we didn't like Syracuse storming the court when they beat Carolina a couple of weeks ago. We wanted to say to the student body, guys, I know the last couple of years haven't been ideal. You're Syracuse, okay? You've won a lot of games. You really have. You don't storm the court. Wake Forest hasn't won a lot of games lately. In fact, that was their best win in like 5 years. So
they were favored, for the record. I mean, the fact of the matter is they were favored in the game. How do you storm the court when you're favored to win the game? And I know it's Duke, and everybody likes to storm the court against Duke when they beat Duke.
But I think we all expected it in Winston-Salem. Some of us were shocked when they were storming the court in Syracuse. We're like, seriously? Like when K-State beat Kansas a couple years ago, their first-year coach, Jerome Tang, he's like, okay, this is the last time, by the way, because we're going to do this every year. All right, we're going. And what did they do this time? When they're up with a few seconds left, he turned and looked at the crowd and said, stay in your seats. Okay? This is what we do now. They come here, we beat them. Got it? And the crowd stayed in their seats. Okay, now we're talking.
And come on, is there any coach that has more power over their program than the big-time college basketball coach? I mean, even more so, Nick could have stopped an Alabama crowd from storming the court.
Yes, he could have.
By putting one finger up.
Right.
Just hold on a second.
I think Kirby, I think they'd listen to Kirby now in Athens. It took the second title, though. They still would have stormed the place after the first time. The second title, it's like, oh, okay, we'll put up with you. You're a little ornery, but you're one
But I
of
mean,
ours.
Trent and I's guy, Izzo could put his hand up and stop a court storming.
Right.
There's 10 college basketball coaches easy that could do that. I don't think there are 10 in football that could.
No, I mean, Ryan Day could have 3 years ago. He had beaten Michigan. Now, now he can't. But when they
could have.
What, you guys don't think Brian Kelly at LSU can
Well, I think it depends on the accent. All right. If they grab the microphone, I think it depends on the accent. But so that's our poll question. We doing away with the court storming, yay or nay? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Shelby Mast. We're going to do bracketology next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GI certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So my brother and his girlfriend left Nashville yesterday to come down here because it's her spring break.
Okay.
So they're coming. They're actually staying in Orlando. So I'm going to go there next weekend. But as soon as they cross into Florida, Miles texts me. He's like, okay, so which sports book can I get? Like, what's legal here? What's the 411?
Orlando, huh?
Yeah.
Is she from there? Or?
No, her parents got her a place there for the week.
Okay.
So
they going to see the mouse?
they're going to Universal.
Okay, much better call.
I'm going with them too, actually.
Universal's great.
Saturday. Yeah, I'm excited.
I've got the 4-letter network on Billis as they're talking about court storming. He says, it's not going to stop. He goes, I'll be happy to talk to you about it and why I think it should stop, but it's not going to stop because the NCAA doesn't want it to stop. And he says, like, by the NCAA, I mean the member institutions. He goes, they like the visual. They use it in recruiting.
I think by now everybody knows how fond I am of my mom and how much I admire her. She eats hot dogs with ketchup. This is not a new phenomenon. She has my whole life. She does. Okay. And so you should see the texts that are going back and forth between the two of us. She is claiming it is perfection. Okay. And I am asking, is it too late to be adopted?
It's not perfection. That's an insult.
I know.
If you want to say you eat it the wrong way and you're going to continue to eat it the wrong way, well, then that's your prerogative. You're nearly 80 years old. You can do whatever you want to do.
And she just played the "and I'm your mother" card also. So you could see how quickly this is escalating.
Oh, this is
right.
Looks like a court storming's coming.
Exactly.
How can you live in Colorado where it snows every year, Ambient? That would be my retort to you. It's cold and it snows. You know what it doesn't do here? It never snows. And really and truly with hurricanes, you get a pretty good warning when they're coming. So if you want to get out of Dodge, you always have the opportunity to do so.
I'll tell you what, my mom angry. She still could bring the heat. I mean, she's not nearly the woman I grew up with. Okay, she is mellowed so much, but she still got an A game.
Here we go. Shelby's on.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. It's a pleasure to welcome back Shelby Mast. He of bracketwag.com. That's his site, bracketwag.com. He's also the bracketologist for collegeinsider.com. Follow Shelby on Twitter/X at bracketwag, WAG. Shelby, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Well, I'm good, although I have a feeling you and I are going to get off to a rough start here. So, does South Florida have any chance of an at-large? They've won 13 in a row. Let's just say they win all the way to the American Conference Final, and then they lose. Can they get in?
I would love to see them in the tournament, but I just don't think the resume is strong enough. If they did what you said in your scenario, they will have won the regular season title and got to the finals. But there's just not enough meat on their resume to where I think they'll be given serious consideration.
Is the AAC a one-bid league this year, Shelby?
I think so. I don't think Florida Atlantic they've had a pretty good season, but it's just pretty good. I was on a podcast last night. We were talking about, a team from that conference. Where would you see them? and we had Florida Atlantic at about 10 or 11, and anybody else was about 13 to 14, and so that's not a good sign.
Right now, you have FAU as a 10. So what do they have to do then for you? Win out the regular season, make it to the conference final, and they maybe still get in?
Maybe, because that big win over Arizona is going to carry a lot of weight. But they've got some real stinker losses. But I think the good can outweigh the bad. It usually does. But they can't lose any more games. And on the road at Memphis, that's not bad. Memphis is a decent enough team. But don't lose to the bottom half, and definitely don't lose first round of the tournament.
The Florida Gators have found their mojo. They're playing really good basketball right now. You have them as a 6 seed. How high could it get for the Gators if they keep on keeping on?
I think they could possibly get to the 5 line. The 4 line, I think, is a little out of reach, but the 5 line would be good for them. They weren't in anybody's bracket a couple of weeks ago, and they have quietly, slowly made their way up. I've got them a lot for the tournament. I think they're already set, but all that remains is the seeding.
Is this a good or a bad year for the quote-unquote mid-majors to get at-larges? Like I saw Drake got beat over the weekend. Does that make the Valley a one-bid league? I mean, just how many mid-major at-larges are you sensing this year?
Not many, well, especially since Gonzaga is in my last 4 in. That's probably the best of the bunch. Yeah, if you want to consider the Pac-12 a mid-major this year, then go ahead. That's fair, and they'll get another team. But I think Dayton, if they don't win their tournament, they will probably get in. But other than that, they're just not going to be much. They keep shooting themselves in the foot.
Shelby, my Spartans blew another one yesterday. How close are they to having to be a bubble team? Because it looks like they're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, they are. And I told somebody yesterday morning that they've got to stop having these stupid losses. There's no way they should lose at home to Ohio State or to Iowa. It shouldn't happen, but they keep finding a way to do it. And I've got them on the 9 line this morning. I don't feel good about that. I think they should be lower. And if they keep this up, they're really going to be nervous on Selection Sunday.
Talking to Shelby Mast. He's a bracketologist, bracketwag.com, bracketwag.com, also collegeinsider.com. Follow Shelby on Twix, Twitter/X at bracketwag, W-A-G. Normally, Shelby, you've come on our show for years. We advocate, if not for the little guy, for the middle-sized guy. We were pounding the table last year to get the Mountain West a bunch of bids. They did. They were terrible in the tournament. Meanwhile, the ACC's been getting less and less bids, and all the ACC is doing is getting in the tournament and going deep. And it seems as if the same scenario is playing out again. They're talking 6 for the Mountain West, and the ACC is scratching and clawing to get 5. At what point, Shelby, does success in March affect who gets in and who gets out?
It's not supposed to affect it at all. It's how you did during the season. Forget about last year, the year before, whatever. And you base it on their merit for the current year. And the Mountain West was ugly last year, except San Diego State. But I think they're going to be good. They're going to like Selection Sunday, but they need to perform for the public. You don't want the public outcry to be loud, and the committee shouldn't pay attention to that. But I gotta think they might.
What's Pitt got to do? One of those ACC teams that you have in the second 4 out. What's Pitt got to do to get themselves in the tournament?
They probably win out the regular season. There's only 4 games left, and probably win 2, maybe 3 in the ACC tournament.
Tall order indeed for Pitt, and that It looks as if, probably the same type of thing for any of those teams in that next 4 out. It's basically you can't lose anymore, can you?
Pretty much, yeah. If you do lose, be one that's acceptable in the committee's eyes. At a higher ranked team, a close margin, but don't go like A&M Saturday night, play at Tennessee and lose by 30-something.
You have New Mexico out. Why?
I do. That game the other night, they lose a quad 4 game at home. You just can't do that if you're that close to the bubble. They've got some good wins, but they got some bad losses too. And I don't want them to be out, but I couldn't put them in.
Your 1 seeds are Connecticut, Purdue, Houston, and Arizona. Is there any chance for anyone, Tennessee, North Carolina, Marquette, is there any chance for anybody to sneak up and steal a 1 seed?
I think North Carolina's probably got the best chance because they played Duke, and they might have a couple others close ones. I don't know yet. But Arizona, I think if they lost at home last week to Washington State, that was not a bad loss. But you've got to. They don't have the quality opponents on their resume that North Carolina does. Not that Carolina is that strong, but Carolina's got a lot of road wins. Arizona doesn't. And they could be interesting on Selection Sunday for the last 1 spot.
How many bids you see the Pac-12 getting? This has been a shockingly bad year out there.
Yeah, I've got them. I think they're going to get 2 for sure. I've got 3 right now. I'm not sold on Colorado. Utah's falling apart. There's nobody else left. And I think 3 would be generous, but I'm comfortable with 2.
I'm looking at your 12 line, and I know you don't get into predicting games, but of all the Samford, Grand Canyon, Indiana State, McNeese State, some gaudy records for some of these teams. Is there a team on the 12-13 line when they get in that you like to do some damage this year?
Well, I'd been saying Grand Canyon and McNeese. Grand Canyon lost 2 times this past week in Texas, and so to bad teams. So I'm not as sold on them as I was. I think McNeese, because they've got a good D1 coach, Will Wade. I think they could make some noise, but further down that, I don't know them well enough to say yes or no. I don't think so.
Tennessee, you do know that coach never does anything in March, but you're just judging the regular season. You got them on a 2 line. But when you watch them, do you see this Tennessee Rick Barnes team being different from past ones?
I don't know. It's going to be tough. I like Tennessee. I like Rick Barnes. I think they've got a very good team, but I gotta his tracker here to March is not great. So that if I were a betting man, I would not bet on them.
And then on your last 4 in, Wake Forest, they just got in, obviously, with that win over Duke on the weekend. Ole Miss is a team that's been up and down. Ole Miss, to me, is the one that's got the most work to do. Who of the last 4 in your eyes, has the most work to stay in the last 4?
I think Ole Miss. They've got a decent record, but their non-conference strength of schedule is horrible, and they're in a position where they can't lose any bad games.
How about Nova? That's a crazy resume right now. Some bad losses. I mean, for goodness, did they beat anybody in the Big 5 in Philly? And then they've got 2 or 3 marquee wins. They just got whacked by UConn. Where are you with Nova?
Yeah, they're my first team out. They're one of those that flip a coin to what you're going to get each day. You never know, and they can turn it on and they can just not show up for a game. So that's going to be them and Michigan State are going to be very interesting come election Sunday.
Yeah, I see Izzo in a play-in game unless he March becomes Izzo again. Shelby, thanks for making time for us. We really appreciate it. All the best to you and the family. Stay well.
Glad to do it. Thanks for having me.
Shelby Mast, bracketwag.com, bracketwag.com. Mark loves bracketwag.com every day for 2 months now?
Yeah.
You go to it every day?
Every day. Well, of all of the bracket sites, to me, it's the easiest to read and digest. I like lists. I don't need a paragraph with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining to me what it was. I just want to see who he's got in. Who are the ones? Who are the 12s? And I think he does a really good job with his site.
He does. He kills it.
And he's got Florida 6. He's got FAU at 10. And what is interesting is he has different categories, and we all know last 4 in, first 4 out, next 4 out. We all know that. But he's got others to be considered. Those on life support, where I guess if they win all the rest of their games but maybe lose the conference final, maybe. But then he's got no longer considered for an at-large bid.
And the Miami Hurricanes are on that list for him right now, which that's not a hard one, but
we can't get him to put South Florida in the tournament unless they win the American.
It's the only way he's got the American as a 1-bid league, David.
I think if FAU gets to the final, they're going to get an at-large. They are. They're going to get an at-large. They have 7 losses right now. I do think they have to finish the regular season without picking up another loss. So that's 2-3 more. Okay, then they go get a couple in the American tournament, lose in the final. I mean, you're talking about what, a 25-8 FAU team with the win at Arizona?
They would probably get in that regard, and that's the only way that's a 2-bid league, though. You got to remember, USF, for all the good things they've done, they lost at Central Michigan.
Oh, well, and FAU lost at FGCU.
Right.
But
USF doesn't have the win. They don't have the Arizona win that FAU has.
Yeah, Mark, I think you're exactly right. I think the only way they get 2 bids is if FAU makes a run in their conference tournament but comes up a little short, and then whoever wins obviously gets the auto. So it could happen. That's
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so for USF. What a great season South Florida's had and having. Great win again yesterday, beating SMU.
Beat them by 11, by the way. SMU was favored by 2.5, which we jumped all over. We're like, what is going on here? We understood if South Florida was only a 2.5-point favorite, whatever, but wait, SMU's favored? I mean, this is the Rodney Dangerfield team in all of college basketball right now.
Everybody's waiting for it to end.
They think they're a fluke. That's what the college basketball world is saying to South Florida. This is cute. You guys are a fluke. I don't know. He just did it at Kennesaw State.
He can coach.
Yeah. God, we had that senior guard on. The guys believe in him.
Well, that Youngblood? He can play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got a couple of players. They've got good leadership on that team, and he can flat out coach.
Well-coached teams with seniority always play well late in the season. Always.
It's the old adage. You're trying to get old and stay old. That was a big loss for Drake over the weekend. Drake was in it. Drake hasn't really played anybody. They've just got 25 wins, but they haven't really played anybody. But you know me, Mark. I'm rooting for the mid-majors. I want mid-majors.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA-certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I think FGCU men clinched a spot in the ASUN playoffs Saturday. With the way
everything worked out,
that if they go on the road and lose, and they finish 6-10, there's two other teams below them that if they win out can finish 6-10, but they've beaten both. So I believe the worst FGCU can finish is 10th, and 10 teams make the ASUN playoffs. Now, I will say the win moved them to 7th, which, now you got to finish in the top 6 to avoid play-ins, but they go to North Florida, who's tied for 4th, and Jacksonville, who's in 10th. But Jacksonville's only lost one home game.
Yes, ambient. Michigan, if they won the Big Ten tourney, would automatically, if you win your conference tournament, you're automatically in.
And now with the Ivy League doing a tournament, that's how it works for every single conference.
Mm-hmm.
They were the exception. In ambient, usually the way it works is if you are like Michigan or something and you're just not a good team, but you win the conference tournament, like you get hot, those end up being like the 12 seeds. They usually don't put Power 5 schools, even if they're bad, any lower than 12. Which I don't understand. Like, I remember a couple years ago when Georgetown was awful, and then they won the Big East tournament, and they put them as a 12 against Colorado and got absolutely smacked. Like, and a lot of people were picking that as their 12-5 upset because that's the famous. There's a 12-5 like every year.
Every year,
people were picking Georgetown, and they got throttled.
Please, I think Georgetown beat DePaul by 1 over the weekend at DePaul, so DePaul's likely going to finish winless in the Big East again.
So bad. Oh, they got to get out of that conference.
Well,
they just don't belong there.
Well, it's Chicago. I mean, but you can't just drop a team from the conference because they suck.
I know that.
Listen, if you're DePaul, you got to hire Will Wade. I mean, let's come on now. We're trying to win basketball games. This isn't a morality play.
Hire Michael.
Who?
Michael. I'm just joking. Because it's in Chicago. Do the old.
Please. I don't know what you could do to get Michael to go back to Chicago just to have dinner.
Oh, yeah. Just a little callback to one of our discussions.
How many superstars have had as little to do with the city that they became a superstar in as Michael with Chicago?
Yeah, I can't name one.
I mean, it's amazing.
Here we go. The bonus hour.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
A lot of feels today. A lot of feels on the show today. We checked off a lot of boxes. We had Mike Eruzione on an hour ago. We just did bracketology for the first time. We held off for a very long time. But now we're starting to get to, March is what? Friday? Come on now. It's time.
You said Izzo wrong, David.
Please. Just lost
Stop
to
it.
Ohio State. Stop it. Stop it. Please. I'll think about calling it Izzo if they make the tournament. That's up in the air at the moment.
It sure is.
Oh, trust me, I know. I'm hanging on for dear life over here.
I will say, though, Gator fan.
Yes.
Got to be feeling good right now.
Yeah.
Team's peaking at the right time.
How many of the SEC teams are you buying? You got Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida.
Well, we saw what Kentucky is on their best day.
We've seen it a couple times.
Yeah. Kentucky on their best day can play with anybody.
Kentucky on their best day can go to the Final Four. Absolutely. How about Bama on their best day?
I like Bama a lot. They can score.
Uh-huh.
That is the one thing about most of these SEC teams we're talking about. They can score. Kind of a big deal. That's just in.
I will say, though, I don't know. Last year's team couldn't win a game any other way. They ran into a game when San Diego State put the clamps on them, and they had no plan B. Can Bama win a plan B game? Tennessee, we have no faith in them.
Well, you can't.
No.
I would put Kentucky there, too. Recent history. I don't trust Kentucky. I definitely don't trust Tennessee. I'm with you guys there. But I'm just saying, I think Kentucky's in that spot, too.
Bruce Pearl, pretty good tournament coach. Auburn on their best day. Auburn probably an Elite Eight team on their best day, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement.
And then you got the Gators, who went to Kentucky and won, and had a 9-point lead late at Bama and lost in overtime.
Shelby's got Tennessee as a 2, Bama as a 3, Auburn as a 4, Kentucky as a 5, Florida as a 6.
Well, there you go. So that's just playing the SEC game. I do disagree with Shelby. To me, he had Wake Forest out until they beat Duke. To me, that's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. They should have been in before beating Duke. What are they, the second place team in the ACC? Come on. Really? A major conference like that, you're not putting the second. But it happened to USC a couple of years ago in the Pac-12. They finished second in the regular season, lost the Pac-12 title game, had 23 wins and didn't get a bid. But I mean, all the,
Wake's fourth, just for the record.
Okay,
in the
sorry.
ACC, they've lost to Georgia.
Who's not awful. They're average, but they're not as awful as they've been. This
They
Georgia
lost to
team's
Florida State,
who's average, not awful, average.
But Wake Forest, their remaining games: Notre Dame, Vatech, Georgia Tech, and Clemson. I mean, Vatech and Clemson are both games they could lose.
So they're in now. Okay. I will say the ACC has got an argument. Like, all I know is we put the teams you allow us in the tournament, they all do damage lately. Why are we not getting more teams? But so anyway, little bracketology there. All right, 20 days until Selection Sunday. We'll have brackets 3 weeks from today. Getting excited.
That's
Not
going to be a
gonna lie.
glorious time. I cannot wait. You guys are I'm going to be insufferable. You guys thought I was insufferable now. Just wait till March Madness.
Wait, you mean this gets worse? Wait, you mean you get happier? You get more excited?
I sure do.
This is going to be the Lions going to the playoffs again? Is that what we're getting?
When Michigan State makes a run, it's close to that level. So
Yeah, but 3 weeks from today, we don't even know. You know, they'll just be a line. That's all. I mean, are you one of those in which my team you have them go to the Final Four every year?
No. I'm realistic. Last year I had them going to the Sweet 16, which they did, and then losing to Kansas State, which they did.
Okay.
So
All right. Fair enough.
By the way, last year, because UConn won and no one really picked UConn, I won my bracket pool by picking Kansas State to win it all. That's bizarre. But they had a good run. Also, before we move on, I want to throw this in there because I think it's really interesting. So Florida, if I would have told you before the season that the Florida Gators would be the best in-state program this year in men's hoops, would you have believed me?
No.
You've got FAU, Florida State's Florida State, Leonard Hamilton, and Miami.
Right. No,
and the Gators have answered the bell.
Wouldn't have answered yes to that question a month ago because they weren't the best team in state a month ago.
Yep.
They have really found themselves here in the last 3 weeks, and they're playing their best basketball as we head into March. It's great timing by the men's Gator basketball team.
By the way, locally, hats off. I believe the FGCU men clinched a spot in the ASUN playoffs with the win Saturday. I've not seen that officially anywhere. I'm a little surprised that they haven't sent that out if it's true, but knowing the tiebreakers the way I know it, the worst they can finish is 10th and the top 10 teams go.
Well, congratulations then.
Also,
you finished 10th in a 12-team conference.
Well, they're 7th right now.
That you were picked to finish 3rd.
Well, that is true. They're 7th right now. Okay, have 2 road games left. But I'm just saying, listen, we were worried after they lost last Thursday at home. We were worried that they could miss the playoffs entirely. This just in, by the way. The women, I think, are 1 win away. 1 win away from extending. They're at 24 wins. Yeah. So when they win their next game, that'll be the 14th consecutive year of winning 25 or more games.
And I think it's actually becoming more impressive than meets the eye, because with the transfer portal, before money was involved, FGCU did really well in the transfer portal. Now even women's basketball players are getting a little something.
Not at FGCU, they're not.
That's my point. No, that's why this is even more impressive to me.
Right.
Dave.
They can't even say, hey, you want to go get some subs? No, they don't even have that.
I mean, maybe you get a discount at Wally's Deli. I'm not sure. He's a big supporter of the athletic department.
That is true. But I think he just does that on his own. I don't think
too.
It's anything official. Right.
I might have to have one of his cheesesteaks today. They're really good.
Good. I'll be down there.
I'm going for a hot dog and mustard.
Ooh. You know what?
And I'll report back.
No, you know what? I'm buying you hot dogs after the show. I know where we're going.
Okay. All right.
There's a place that serves a Detroit dog not more than a mile down the road.
I will not turn that down.
They've won 17. They've won 17 in a row, by the way. And yet, right now, they would not get an at-large. They have 2 more regular season games left. And then, in theory, they have to win 3 conference tournament games. So let's just say they win 4 more in a row. That means they'd have 28 wins and a 21-game winning streak playing the conference final.
And they have to win out to get into the tournament. That's a fact.
It seems that way. Their net rating is in the mid-50s. Usually you have to be in the mid-40s to get an at-large. The women have never gotten an at-large. They had a team 8 years ago that clearly should have gotten an at-large. And I think that they played the last game of this regular season. They did. They played Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And they blew a big second-half lead, lost the ASUN final. And I think the committee never considered, what do we do with them if they lose? Because they lost, and they went, I'll be damned. But there were a few people who do women's bracketology who said, oh, wow, FGCU lost. What do we do? Oh, well, I still put them in as a 10. The bracketologists had them in. But the NCAA left them out.
And that team net-wise was better than this team, correct, David?
Yes. Because that team had Whitney Knight, who got drafted in the second round of the WNBA draft. Right. So that's why we think the women have to, in all likelihood, win the conference again to get a bid.
Carl can't get games. This is not. He would love to schedule a more difficult schedule. No Power 5 teams really playing. What, Kentucky played them this year and they beat them, right?
Kentucky, yes. Unfortunately, Kentucky's not very good. I'm amazed that the coach from Kentucky continues to answer the phone because Carl, I think, has beaten them the last 3 times he's played them. But he was able to get Duke on the schedule. Duke beat him. Duke's a tournament team. He was in the Gulf Coast Showcase there. They played Iowa, got whacked. But much like 8 years ago, Mark, what should have gotten that FGCU team in was they beat a George Washington team who had a first-round draft pick, Jonell Jones, on their team at GW, and GW was a 6 seed, and they beat them without Whitney Knight. I mean, I don't know how that game did not get them in the tournament. Well, they've got one of those games this year. They beat North Carolina on a neutral court. That was the Gulf Coast Showcase, but that's a neutral court game. North Carolina has been ranked more weeks than they've been unranked. And they just beat NC State, who's like 6th in the country the other day. And so they've got a win against a solid tournament team on a neutral floor.
That's a quad 1 win.
Yes. I mean, they're 1-2 against ranked teams this year.
Right.
I mean, I would like, until they get an at-large, I'm never going to believe that they're going to get one. But this team really, if they run the table to the end, 21-game winning streak, 28 wins overall, and then by chance lose, they should get an at-large. They won't.
They won't.
But they should.
That's just the reality of it with FGCU's team, that the net's not high enough. They don't take care of mid-majors, and they're actually considered a low major. But
I think you guys bring up a great point, though, about the scheduling. That is a huge – it's tough when you're good.
He can't get the in-state schools to play him.
Yeah.
South Florida won't play him. UCF stopped playing him. Never mind Miami, Florida, and Florida State. He can't get anybody in-state to play him. Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GI certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
They're doing a documentary on the Expos on Netflix.
Oh, I'm in. I love it.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Coming up in a little more than 15 minutes, along with our final thoughts, a pick or two. What were we, 12-4 this weekend?
Yes.
You had it all up? Yeah. 12-4.
Unbelievable. On fire.
You
Miller
weren't 12-4.
No, I wasn't.
No.
I was
Might have been 11-5.
I was 11-5.
Creighton. Unbelievable.
Actually, I was 12-5 because I took the Heat.
All right.
That's true. That's true. And that's why, see, young whippersnapper there, because he started the week off, won big money on the Heat Friday night. So he's like, I don't have to listen to anybody. Nobody's smarter than me. And so that's how he pursues. So he knows our system. He's documented our system. He knows our system has been money. And what did he do yesterday? He bet right into the teeth of the system and got eaten.
And I didn't know about it until I landed and got the text from David saying, what the F were you thinking?
Well, that's because you didn't see that Rick Pitino wore the ice cream man suit. I mean, if you had seen him in that suit, there's no way you would have bet against him.
Correct.
Now, can any team ever do a whiteout again unless their coach is willing to make that move?
Well, or is he just taking the whiteout a little bit further than everybody else? Like everybody else can do the whiteout, but St. John's does it now, because he used to do that at Louisville.
Right.
Or Louisville, my bad. Okay, he used to do that at Louisville. So,
Well, it's also funny juxtaposed with the whole last week ripping his team to pieces, and then he shows up in a white suit and everyone loves him again.
well, in between, though, did you see the post-game mea culpa he did when they won? Who'd they beat? A bad team beat them
Yeah.
by Georgetown.
Georgetown.
And oh my goodness, I started naming everybody by name. Love this guy, talking about their families and the whole deal. I mean,
Well, and he came right out, apologized, and just said that he.
well, it took a couple days though, because the next day he gets
He doubles down the next day. He doesn't
Right.
apologize until after the Georgetown game,
Right.
but he also in the apology said, "It was a lot harder on these guys in practice."
which is what some of his former players who were interviewed said. He goes, well, that's nothing they haven't heard before. And one guy talked about how I was so bad at practice one time. He said, if you continue to do that, I'm going to chop you up into 9 pieces. He goes, you can't take him seriously. But so anyway, we'll have some picks coming up. So Court Storman was our poll question.
Can I just have one quick last thing on Pitino?
Mhm.
Because his dye job used to be a lot darker.
Right.
His hair has turned more orange.
Do you think it's because once you dye it to a certain point, is this like kind of Botox? Once you've done whatever it is to your face then goes, I can't move normally anymore. It's kind of, you look like Madonna recently. It's just like,
Okay. And I don't know, David, because I don't, there's not
Right.
one bit of dye in this hair. This is
Right.
this is mine.
exactly. No, you and I look the way we look. It is El Natural, baby. Right.
But I
What you
just
see is
laugh
what
every
you
time
get.
I see him because Pitino looks completely differently as he's aging. But he
Well,
looked good in the suit.
Yeah, he pulled it off. I mean,
Not everybody can do that.
No, in his early 70s, he still pulled off that suit. I give him credit. So, court storming's our poll question. You know, we had the one over the weekend. A Duke player got hurt, and John Shire, head coach of Duke, said, "When are we going to end these things?" That's about 3 weeks after Matt Painter of Purdue said, "When are we going to end these things?" And so we're asking you, should we end these things? Yay or nay?
And the vote's getting closer.
Ooh,
57-43 now.
Look at that. That's not good. That's not good. Because we think the powers that be are inclined to do away with them. Now, of course, they're not going to have, armed guards out there. And if some kids want to storm the court, they're going to end up storming the court. But at least it would be against the rules, and you could take whatever action, legally and otherwise that you could take.
I don't know. You've been saying that it's going to be the conference commissioners that do it.
Yes. And because they're lawyers. Conference commissioners talk to university presidents and lawyers.
And ADs will have no say-so in this. And coaches will have no say-so in this.
No. Listen, I think there's a lot of coaches that would want to do away with it. I don't think they like it at all. I think they want to do the handshake line and get off the floor. And the court storming's a problem. Last thing they want to deal with is a court storming.
Play better on the road.
I will say, I only remember 3 at FGCU. All right. 2 of them were when the men beat Miami the year they ended up going to the Sweet 16. That was the first men's court storming that I remember. The student section was packed, and the students came out onto the floor. They were like, "This is cool." Oh, okay. And it went fine. They went to the middle of the floor. The Miami players had come to the sidelines. Larinaga, and the guys, they did the handshake. Everything was fine. Larinaga shook Andy's hand and said, "You'll never see me again." That's the true story. That's not me being flippant, because the contract got done 4 days before Larinaga took the job. Okay. And so he comes, loses to FGCU, shakes Andy's hand and says, "You'll never see me again." And then 4 years later, Mark, the men won the ASUN tournament at home.
Right.
I think it's the only time they won
at home.
I think. I'm trying to remember.
Because they won it in Macon.
They won it in Macon. They lost it at home in 14. They lost it at home in 18. No, I guess they won back-to-back at home, 16 and 17.
Okay.
I know in 16, they stormed the court because it was dramatic. It was in overtime. We did the game together. Okay. Zach Johnson with the block to save the win. Okay. And it was exciting. It was thrilling, 2-point game in overtime. I don't think they stormed it in 2017. They kind of had North Florida by double figures. I think it was just at that point, they were accustomed to winning. But believe it or not, the first time it ever happened was a women's game, when the women were making they were about to make the transition to D1, but they were the undefeated number 1 team in the country in D2. And the way they still do it is you actually send 8 teams to the national tournament. So they played what was called the region final, but it was essentially the Sweet 16. And they played it at Alico. And it was the first time, Mark, that they had ever had to bring the grandstand out for a women's game. They had over 4,000 people at a women's game. And the student section was packed. And, normally there were 12 students at these games. And they ran out onto the floor. I mean, they were literally picking the women up and like putting them on their shoulders, treating them like champions. It was actually cool to see. But so I remember 3 happening at FGCU. Nothing bad happened at all 3.
It's one thing to say you're going to stop it. It's another to act on it. And how are you going to do it? Because as we've said, they don't have the security on a nightly basis to stop them.
No.
That's
and
what we keep
hiring
coming
them
back to.
and hiring them would cost an astronomical sum of money, and you don't know if they're necessary because you're Got to win the game first.
Never mind how many you're going to hire to stop. If the student section there is like 800, that one part side is, I think, 800 tickets. How are you going to stop 800 kids if they decide we're rushing the floor? Even if half of them decide we're rushing it. Even if a quarter of them, how are you going to stop 200 kids? How many people do you need?
Well, that's the whole key here. That's what we keep coming back to is I think every level-headed person would agree that this needs to get under control. The question is, how do you do that?
I think you'd have to threaten arrest.
There's no good answer.
That you could be arrested if you storm the court. Because they don't care about the fine because they're not paying it. You'd have to deter them in some way that will get the fans to stop storming the court. And I don't know if it can be done.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I love it. There's someone's idea is to put a minute on the clock after the game, and then they can storm the court. Yeah, that's how it works.
I sent you guys a spring training video. Maybe this is actually from a game. Apparently this is from the Marlins, so maybe it's during an actual game. But I still think it's impressive as hell.
It is.
Did you see the 6 guys that jumped Cam Newton?
Yeah.
And he proceeded
to kick their ass
and didn't throw a punch.
No, just threw them around like ragdolls.
Right. It's like this scene out of the movie where they're coming at him one at a time. I'll take this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm. By the way, if you're Cam, boy, what a reward for here you are hosting a community event for kids, and this is how you get treated. What the heck? You think they'd respect the rope? I
think the penalties have to be very harsh or it won't stop.
Well, but penalties for what? Storming the court?
Students who are on the court.
But I thought we're wanting to keep the court storming.
I'm just saying if you're going to stop it, the only way to do it is it's got to be.
Oh, yeah. I think it's harder. How do you continue it but make it safer?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. We're Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks for being with us. Miss any part of the show, that's where you go, by the way, to download it, floridasportsnetwork.com, like Mike Eruzione, who was on the top of our 8 o'clock hour, our third hour. So there.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
I hope you've got something because we need to get to March. Because apparently February was not a good month for sports history. The Yankees released Babe Ruth today in 1935. He'd signed with the Boston Braves.
Right.
83. Thriller goes number 1. It would stay there for 37 weeks. During those 37 weeks, David would have stolen 174 Thriller cassettes that he would in turn sell at his high school.
Yeah, more than that.
I just threw a number out there.
More than that.
Today in 1989, Tom Landry was fired.
There are still Cowboys fans who are like, tell me when Jerry Jones dies. That's when I'll start rooting for them again.
I remember my first boss when I worked in minor pro sports and decided to go into the sports world for a career. He says, you try to make yourself indispensable because that's your goal. He goes, now it's impossible because Tom Landry was fired. And that was how he would explain it to everybody. And in 2017, Kurt Busch wins the Daytona 500. Kyle Larson runs out of gas on the last lap. Victor Hugo, Levi Strauss, Jackie Gleason, Tony Randall, Fats Domino, and Johnny Cash all born today.
Boy, we're having a hell of a party today.
Singer Michael Bolton, 71. Hockey player Joe Mullen, 67. And Marshall Falks, 51. And that's all I've got, David. What did I miss?
Well, we can go back to 1919. Grand Canyon designated a national park 105 years ago today.
All right, there you go.
Yeah. And it was 95 years ago the Grand Teton National Park was established. I don't know if I've ever done a national park announcement before. Last Marines left Beirut today in 84. Let's see what else. The first time the World Trade Center was bombed.
I saw that one.
Today in 93. Trayvon Martin shot and killed 12 years ago today. 12 years ago. He would have been 30 today. That's it.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Johnston, Rhode Island for the good, where a hiker was attacked by a coyote. He killed the coyote with his bare hands.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
I thought.
All right. Come on. I'm impressed. You impressed?
Yeah.
Wow.
For the bad, we go to Indiana, where Connor Litka is stupid. He's 21. And he walked into a Land Rover dealership and tried to buy a Land Rover with a $12 million check that he had with him.
Okay.
They threw him out. So then he went to the Porsche dealership with a $78 million check in hopes of buying a new Porsche. When the dealership employees refused to sell him the car, he walked around to the back entrance of the dealership looking for keys and refused to leave the dealership until they sold him a car. They called the police on him and he was arrested on the spot with his $78 million check.
So that's not enough for a Lamborghini or a Range Rover these days? I mean, I know prices are going up, but man.
For the ugly, we go to London, where a 52-year-old man is now in police custody after calling the police on himself. It was just before noon on Monday when a motorist reported he was driving drunk and he doesn't know what he's doing. So the police were dispatched. They found him in a van on the side of the road. No word of a river was nearby, but the breath test revealed he was 3 times over the legal limit.
So if you still have enough wherewithal to call the police, don't you have enough wherewithal to just pull over and go, I shouldn't be driving?
Correct.
Interesting. I mean, it almost sounds like golf there. So he called a rules violation on himself. Is what you're saying, right?
Exactly. And a little follow-up today. We talked about this a while back. The Florida games finally happened over the weekend in St. Augustine, where they had people trying to fake steal things, mud wrestling, and, of course, the obstacle course where you had to carry bikes through a maze of different obstacles. But many Florida men and women showed up to the event that took place in St. Augustine. They have threatened to do this again next year. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, February the 26th, 2024.
Made all the national shows. I know that. Will probably make, for those of you that stay up for it, I'll bet you it may make a few Monday night monologues on the 11:30 show circuit. So, yeah, not the best to look for the Sunshine State.
When is it?
I'm
When
surprised.
do we ever have a good look?
I mean, come
When
on.
does the rest of the nation go, hey, you know what? Florida's doing it. Let's go there.
I don't know.
Even though we handled the pandemic better than any damn state in the union, we weren't told that by everybody else. We were told how we were blanking it up.
Well, I mean, handled is an interesting word. Some people say we ignored it. So, that's a way to handle it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Here's a question. Is there enough points for you to actually bet on the Miami Hurricanes in a men's basketball game the rest of the year?
Hell no.
Because Miami's getting 13.5 at North Carolina. It's a lot of points.
You're right. It is. Miami is bad.
Well, and not only that, Mark, they kind of look disinterested. You get the sense watching Miami lately that, they're not real interested in playing.
Larenega's disinterested. They're all disinterested. It's an unserious program this year.
They were serious till about a month ago. But it just seems as if the players packed it in. Larenega took a couple attempts to try to shake them out of it, and they're like, no, man, we're done. So are we laying the 13.5 then? We don't normally do this.
No, I would stay away from the game. It's just a game I wouldn't bet.
It's 7 o'clock on ESPN. 9 o'clock on ESPN. Another terrific game in the Big 12. 11th ranked Baylor is a road underdog at TCU. Horned Frogs have to lay 2.5 at home. That's not our system. Are we playing this one?
We've played these games before.
We've done it a couple times.
And we're doing it tonight.
So we're laying the 2.5 with TCU?
The game, though, David, is Prairie View.
Oh, here we go.
Is at Mississippi Valley State.
Uh-huh.
Mississippi Valley State yet to win a game this year. They are getting 9.5 at home.
We have to lay the points. To say they're really bad, well, they're 0-27. No, they're really bad. Like when Detroit was 0-26, we were betting Detroit against Ooey Pooey. Detroit had actually played like 10 games where they were really competitive. Mississippi Valley State is really bad. Now, Prairie View's not great. 5-9 in the SWAC, 10-17 overall. It's the Panthers against the Delta Devils. ESPN's matchup predictor gives Prairie View an 89% chance at victory, Mark. They play 9 times. Prairie View would win 8. I say we lay the 9.5.
Done.
Okay.
Done.
Sorry, Mississippi Valley State. I'm sorry.
4 games in the NHL tonight. Edmonton home for LA. The Bruins are on the road taking on the Kraken at 10. Dallas and the Islanders. And Ovechkin at home tonight against the Senators.
Well, we know what Trent's going to do. He's going to bet the Pistons tonight and take 10.5 at Madison Square against the Knicks. The Heater in Sacramento, it's on NBA TV. The NBA TV double dip at 7 and 10. If you're interested, it's Toronto, Indiana, Miami, and Sacramento. I will say this. Brooklyn had a coaching change. They don't look very interested in playing. How desperate are we? How much of a role do we think we're on? Brooklyn's a 1.5 point road favorite at Memphis.
David, this is what you do. This is who you are. And I love you for it. And I appreciate it. But all of a sudden, a system that's working extremely well.
Uh-huh.
And there's not enough system games on a Monday, so you immediately run to the association where you think you have a feeling about a game.
Well,
what happened the last time you had a feeling about a couple NBA games?
Oh, I got my butt kicked. I was
Right.
terrible. Right. Yeah.
And you want to take Brooklyn, or you want to take Memphis at home against Brooklyn tonight?
Well, yeah, Brooklyn's lost 4 in a row.
Spread. What's the spread?
1.5.
Brooklyn's favorite. It's basically picking who you think's going to win.
I don't know about that one.
I know. Listen, that's the game. If you're betting that game, that you call 1-800-GAMBLER. No, you have a problem if you're betting Brooklyn and Memphis. You are. Either that or you've won so much money, you're just betting everything now because, well, so there you go.
If you want to chase your tail in the association, the Heat are boosted to plus 275 against the Kings tonight in Sacramento.
Well, remember, no Jimmy Butler, no, how do you pronounce his name? Jovic,
yeah.
Jovic, okay, and no Thomas Bryant because they're all suspended from the melee against the Pelicans. So they're shorthanded tonight.
And they're just sucking you in with a big boost. Trent.
Oh, Hard Rock, they know what they're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. The sports books knows what they're doing.
Who would have thought?
Because they keep knocking them down and building smaller ones.
By the way, how about a shout out to Sheikh Zula in the Twitch chat room? He's flying right now. He's over Arkansas on his way to Denver for a ski trip. He's still listening to the show. All right. Way to go. Those in-flight movies must suck. Thanks.
Just keep your shoes on, Sheikh Zula. That's all we ask.
Yes.
No bare feet on the plane. That's important.
It's disgraceful.
My flight back from Nashville yesterday, I was in between two older women. Some hilarious conversation, I will say. I'm a talker on the plane. I love to talk.
Oh no!
This surprises you. Why, David?
You guys would hate sitting next to me on the plane.
No, I see. David would. I don't mind at all. I'll have a conversation. It doesn't bother me a bit.
Here's the thing. I'm very self-aware though, so if someone is not having it, I can tell pretty quickly, and I shut it down. I'm not relentless like that. I'm not ruthless. But if you want to talk to me, I'll talk to you the whole time.
Are you okay with being told enough?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Have you ever uttered that phrase to someone?
Yeah. In fact, this year I turned to a guy and I said, "What part of me ignoring you with my eyes closed are you having trouble understanding?"
Special.
You got to spell it out for some people.
Listen, didn't realize I'd have to go there. I'm not responding to you. I am pretending to be asleep with my eyes closed.
And you weren't gentle in the face. We already knew that.
I'm never gentle in the face. Right.
Oh, a couple of older ladies, and Trent starts talking. He was talking that whole flight. There was no way at that point. You can't walk away then. Can't put the headsets in when you engage two older women. If they're going to engage you, you're done. You were probably set up with 3 granddaughters.
I was
and a niece by the time it was over with.
Hearing all about granddaughters.
Miller and Moulton. If you missed any of the show, go to Florida Sports Network to download it. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years.